welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And by our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and check them out at www.crowdplayapp.com for details. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hey everybody, welcome to Cage by IQ. I am your host D-Bake. Joining with me once again my co-host Miles Long. How's it going, Miles?
I'm doing good. Just finished dinner, so that's a big thing for me.
Exactly. Same here. We had a nice. How was your weekend?
School stuff. That's the answer. Is school stuff mostly. Just doing assignments and catching up and getting ready for this. Saw the fight. That was fun. But we'll talk about that, I guess.
I know. And then I saw, of course, yesterday talking to my boy Jim.
Oh yeah,
from the Friday Night Music. Yeah,
it was a good time. Jim's always fun to have on. If you guys like music and jammy jams, go check him out. Friday Night Music Party. It's always a good time. But he was on. We were chit chatting for about an hour. And then we got hung up on talking about, what were we talking about? We started talking about capitalism, and then we started talking about, what's the other thing? Prisons and the death penalty. That's the thing we spent collectively about 4 hours on, and then games. What happened to my hair? It ran away because of my bad jokes. That happens sometimes. No, just kidding. Basically what happened was the money that could go towards a haircut could buy me more ramen and get me to the end of the month. So that's where I'm at right now. So,
priorities, man. Priorities. You can shave your head for free and then use that money for something else. Exactly. But I had a good weekend myself. Of course, I went to a buddy's house, watched the fights. Didn't catch the boxing fight. I caught it.
It was over too fast.
It was over. We were we could catch this. We could catch the main event. Watch Whittaker, Gastelum, and then hop over because I think when the main event was starting, Bieber was still on. I was like, Bieber's going to be on for 30 minutes, and then that gave me enough leeway to flip over. We had ESPN Plus on, and then we had the fight on a different channel, and then we had it all ready to go for us to flip over, and then I went to flip over right in between rounds, and my buddy was like, "It's over." I'm like, it just started. so we caught the replay of it, which was basically the whole fight, the boxing fight. But we'll talk about that in a few. But shit was crazy. And then I caught a little bit of your show yesterday. Yep. And of course, I have to show love to you and Jim. Jim's the man. Like you said, check him out on Twitch. Friday Night Music Party,
it's the one.
Friday Night Music Party. And then also, I want to give a shout out to my buddy. He has a podcast. Check him out on Twitch and YouTube. Dope. MMA_Marks. He has an MMA podcast on YouTube and Twitch. He basically talks about MMA, and then he plays UFC 4. He plays on there on Twitch. He basically does it for 4 or 5 hours. He was kind enough to give us a shout out on his show right before we got on here. So showing the love back. So follow him on Twitch and YouTube at MMA_Marks. Check him out, especially if you like the UFC 4 game. He likes to play people on there that come on and subscribe. So check him out. If you have the game, tell him you want to play him, and most likely he'll play you. But we're getting started here. We actually are going to have a couple people that are going to do a drive-by on here. They're going to come on and talk a little bit of UFC with us. Yeah, drive-by, man. That's what I call it. They're going to come on and go, and most likely we'll still be on for a while.
They're just going to come in and fuck up our flow. That's what's going to happen.
what kind of flow when we're on for 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours,
But it comes and goes.
It's going to be...
Got to catch them at the right time.
And then Jay just chimed in again, being bald is best. He's bald himself. He's going to come on when he gets back, probably in the next 20 minutes or so.
Oh, dope.
He's going to come on. And then Cage Talk is going to come on as well. I put the link in our MMA group chat for anybody to hop on. He said watching the Thrill card was kind of like smoking a blunt that you didn't know had PCP in it.
Well, it took you by,
it
catches you by surprise there. You're like, all right, I think I know this is going to go. And then you're like, oh, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is an ordeal.
No matter what you want to say about Ben Askren, dude just made $500,000 for taking a fall. That's all I'm going to say. He made more in that one fight than he did probably in his one championship career, almost.
Yeah.
Over in
definitely
Japan,
more in the
Singapore.
UFC, more than he made in the UFC. For sure.
Well, I only think he fought 2 or 3 times in the UFC.
Yeah,
So.
he didn't last long.
But I will say this: the UFC made out in that trade because it gave publicity to Jorge Masvidal. That's the only reason the UFC is making out was because of that knee. Once that knee happened, that trade made his career. So they used Ben Askren to make Masvidal's career.
He is a springboard.
Yep, yeah, which is perfect. I got him coming on. If I pop on, we will be on for 4 hours again. So I'm gonna have to do a dine and dash.
We'll probably be on 4 hours anyway, so it's fine.
Hey, we were on 2.5 hours yesterday last weekend. We thought we were gonna get done quick.
Yeah, and then that didn't happen. Just the bullshit happened instead for like an hour too.
Well, before we get started with the recap, I'm going to start out with the news on Jakar Close and Jeremy Stevens. That was supposed to be the co-main event getting scrapped literally 20 minutes before fight time. If you were able to watch the weigh-ins the day before, you see them come up close, to do the whole stare down, and then out of nowhere, Jeremy Stevens decides to push Jakar Close back, and then they were getting into a little scuffle. Then then it came out that night into the next morning that because of that, there was like a pinched nerve in Jakar Close's hand, and then he said his hand was numb. So then he was getting looked by doctors the whole morning and then afternoon, and he wanted to fight, but they basically told him you can't fight. So something with his hand went numb after he got pushed back. I don't know exactly what it was. I would have to look into it, which I might do that now. Might as well.
That's an odd, How does that work? Was it from like him pushing back, or like, because like how the fuck does that work? Like someone pushes you, you're like, my hand. Let
me look at it without having the sound on. It said the co-main event of Saturday's UFC fight has been called off. Says the reason stems from a shove at the previous day's weigh-in. And then this is a thing from Jakar Close. After I was pushed by Jeremy, I immediately felt my hand go numb and neck tighten up. Sean Shelby and the officials sent me to the PI to get worked on by the UFC PT staff for 2 hours. I spent the night eating, rehydrating, stretching, and even saw the PT staff later that night. I woke up early this morning with a migraine headache, nausea, and the only thing that made me feel better was laying in the dark. UFC got me medicine, and I rested for a couple hours before getting up and vomiting. It was at that point we called the UFC doctor, and he made the decision to send me to the hospital. I'm sorry to everyone who's excited for this fight. I tried to do everything I could to keep the fight going, but the issues are out of my control. From what that sounds like, it sounds like maybe he had whiplash. Like whiplash or something. Okay,
that sucks.
They choose the worst boxer in MMA to represent MMA.
Yeah. I think it's mostly that Dana White just didn't
Close should sue him, concussion, and fucked his neck up. And then MMA Marks, hi him. He visited him with the stream. Have a great podcast. Thank you. I did market your podcast, MMA Marks, like 5 minutes ago. Showing the love to you as you showed the love back to me earlier. Thanks a lot. I'll be hopping on your stream right after I'm done with this. But basically, it sounds like it was like a pinched nerve or something, or maybe like a whiplash, like from the reaction of getting pushed back like that, is what caused it. And then he said, "Thanks, Amy. I'll be live tomorrow night for my podcast as well. Hope to see you on. I'll be on tomorrow as well.
Sounds fun.
Definitely. Let everybody know what times you're going to be on, and I'll show the thing right here. But basically, it's crazy. Like I saw it, I'm like, how did you get that bad from just a shove like that? But I could tell when he got shoved that his head went like this.
Right.
So maybe it was like I said, a whiplash effect where
Well, I mean,
that happened.
is he a wrestler? Is he like got a big wrestling background?
Not really. Like
really?
Stevens would have more of a wrestling background than he does.
I mean, because typically when you wrestle, there is a lot of strain on your neck. Like there's wrestlers who have ended their careers because they went too hard in training and something happened to their neck. Because there's a lot of exercises like the wrestling bridges where you stick on your head. It's like doing like a bridge like you do in elementary school, except without the hands. You just put your head on the ground and like make an arc with your body, and it strengthens up your neck muscles. But over time, it affects your joints. It affects the mobility in your neck. You know, of course, when you put that much strain on one area of the body over time, it's going to add up. But if he's not doing that much neck stuff in training, it must have been like a weird fluke, you know?
It had to be. And then with him saying that, the only time that it feels good is when he's in the dark. That sounds like a concussion type thing. Usually you have a concussion when the light bothers you and you only feel good in the dark. But it's crazy to think that you could just get a concussion from getting pushed like that. But then again, they were both standing there, and then he wasn't expecting to get pushed. So he might have tried to, like, at the last to kind of stand there, and because he got pushed back, it might the whiplash effect, like I said. But it sucks that that guy came, because that was going to be a really good fight, and then for it to happen the day of, so basically they had to like do a little bit of shuffling. The prelims were supposed to start at 7:10. And because of that, they kind of pushed everything back 20 minutes. I think they didn't do the opening fight until 7:30 on the prelim card. So they did that, and then they moved the women's fight. It was Cortez and Justine Kish. They moved that to the main card, and they moved the Orlovsky Sherman fight to the co-main event. So they basically just pushed everything back 20 minutes, moved the fight to the main card and whatnot, went business as usual. They kind of did a little bit of BS for 20 minutes talking about the shove and whatnot, just to kill time for that 20 minutes.
I thought I noticed it. Like, I was wondering why in the main card they took that detour to do Volkanovski Ortega announcement with like a straight up interview, and like Ortega's in his car. Like, this was not planned. He wasn't ready. He's just sitting in his car talking about this shit.
What was crazy? Like, I was waiting, like I was making sure it was on like 7:10 because we did me and my boy Jim did the interview with Anthony Burchak, and he was the very first fight. Like he got knocked out in the second round, which sucks. But I released that on was it a Friday? So I had just released it, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get to the beginning because he's fighting the very first fight. And I looked at the times, and it was like 7:10. So I get on 7:10. I'm like, where are the fights at? It's just a bunch of talking, and nothing happened. But then I heard somebody was like, "Oh, the fight's off." And I'm like, "What fight?" And they're like, "Close Stevens." I'm like, "Holy shit!" Yeah. I'm like, at least I felt good at least that it wasn't COVID, because I feel like we've had all these COVID ones. Yeah. And it sucks also that it was only 11, but there's supposed to be 12, and now there was only 11, so there wasn't that many fights to begin with. We got Jay Chapman, and his body was loose. He had just finished cutting weight, and that push had the effect of an unexpected mild car crash.
That's true. His body would be weaker after like a big weight cut, especially when you're just trying to get every little pound off that you can before you step on the scale. There's a pretty decent chance he would have like just gotten out of the sauna, or like hadn't eaten all day, or reducing the amount of water intake, all kinds of crazy shit to try to keep weight. So that's true.
It all depends on how much he has to cut weight too. Like some guys don't have to cut weight that much because it's like the perfect weight class. Some guys cut weight to go down a weight class below, right? Because then they're a little bit stronger there, whereas if they're in their regular weight class, they might be a little bit weaker, but then they'll be faster. Like it's crazy how these guys fluctuate between weight classes, and what happens if you go to a weight class above or below, how it has that effect on guys. That's why, not to veer off too much, but that's why I'm intrigued to see how John Jones does in heavyweight, because he's going to lose. I think he's going to lose a little bit of that speed moving up because he's going to be like 30 pounds heavier, but then he might be a little bit stronger at that same time because.
I mean, it's also relative to the fighters you're against. So, like, he might be slower, but relative to the fighters he's up against, most of that weight class, he's faster than them, even with the extra weight. You know what I mean? And the strength is only going to help him. They did a study a long time ago. I forget who did the study, but they basically were wondering, like, what wins a fight? Like, what factors ultimately win out a fight? And what they said is, all other factors being equal, style had almost no statistically significant effect on the fight outcome. It was overall strength, overall weight, and overall like size, like height and build and all that. Those were the main factors that influenced the outcome of a fight most heavily. Yeah. So, I mean, if he can get stronger, that's only going to be a big asset for him because he's already a big fucking dude. Even for like heavyweights, he's a long, lanky, tall motherfucker. And if he just is stronger and relatively faster than everybody, it's gonna be rough for a lot of people in that division.
And then I got my hopes up. I went on Twitter and somebody was like, "Okay, they're getting started with the negotiations for the Francis Ngannou." And I was like, "Oh, finally doing that."
Down. Yeah.
So I went to look on. It was a picture on the left. It was Francis Ngannou, and on the right, it was a picture of Chef from South Park. I'm like, I was like, I didn't expect that.
That's awesome. Chef from South Park.
I was like, I was expecting to see a picture of either Derek Lewis or John Jones, and then I saw Chef from South Park. I was like,
that's pretty great.
And it was like tentative for August. And I was like, okay, this is how it's gonna be. We're gonna have I was like, I'll take it. I'll buy it. Like you sold me on it right now.
Take my money. Take my money.
Take my money. You know, at this point, if you're gonna have that, you might as well have Conor McGregor versus was it Ike?
Can we do He-Man? Can we do Conor McGregor versus He-Man? They can both bring their swords.
I'll one up you. How about Conor McGregor versus Skeletor?
He could do magic though. That's not fair. Like Conor McGregor only got punching. He could bring the sword, but like, what do you do against necromancy? You know,
if you want to go that direction, I'll go Skeletor against Jorge Masvidal because obviously he has magic because he can get a rematch without even having to fight after he got beat.
Apparently. So we'll see how that goes. He says he's going to be different this time. I don't see it.
But there's going to be there's going to be crowd there. That's all I can say. That's the only difference that there's going to be. It's going to be
people in attendance.
He's going to be 2 hours away from his hometown, so
there'll be noise in the stadium, so you can't hear him getting smacked in the face the same way you can in the empty stadium. But same volume though, like same volume in terms of amount, same volume in terms of decibels. Not too much difference, I don't think. No. We'll see. Maybe we're selling him short. Who knows?
And I'll be previewing that UFC 261. That'll come out this Thursday at noon. Most likely, check that out. We're stacked card that they have this Saturday. It's gonna be one. It's gonna be the first one with the crowd back. So I'm excited for that. But it's gonna be a loaded card. I just started watching the UFC vignettes that they have on TV, like seeing them get ready. And then that's what Jorge Masvidal said. He was like, it's going to be different this time. It's going to be different. I'm training. Yeah. I was like, yeah, there's going to be crowds. That's the only different thing. Like you really don't match up well with them. You know, like he technically took the fight on short notice too. Like he didn't have to take the fight either because he was training for something completely different from you.
Right.
A jiu-jitsu guy, and then you were a striker. Mm-hmm. So, you know, and he still did that. That's why he didn't basically knock you out, was because he was trained for a jiu-jitsu guy. And then he just kept it close with you. He kept you up against the cage. I think.
Well, Usman's also building momentum. He's knocking more guys out rather than winning by decision. So he's gaining momentum. If anything, he's learning how to place the power in those key points at the key time.
I give him that. He got knocked good by Burns. He did recover. And I give him props for that. I'll give him cover for that. But they're doing a great job of booking for the next couple months. I like all the matchups that they're doing. Like they're getting them out. They're getting a lot of them out. Of course, they finally announced McGregor Poirier 3. People were like, they're not going to do it after this beef with the donations. I was like, are you kidding me? What did I say last week? I was like, this is just going to be like show and tell. Like they're going to do that. They're going to create this beef between each other, just to hype up the money even more, because it's going to be that fight's going to be the first one in Vegas.
Who was it? Poirier actually backed off of that first. Like McGregor put out some shit, and then Poirier's like, "Oh, that was a mistake." So I don't know what happened there. There's probably some shit happening off screen, right behind the scenes.
I don't think it's that bad. I think they probably solved it very quickly.
Probably the managers just like talking and going, "Hey, we're missing a thing. That's why we didn't do it."
But I bet you they're like, "Let's keep this going on camera or in the Twitter word, just so it hypes people up." Because
if they were going to do that, they would have just kept going with it. This seems like on Twitter they just kind of resolved it because then Poirier backed off, so now it seems amicable again.
So does Usman try to grab Masvidal's chunk again? That's the real question.
Maybe. You never know.
He could.
If he starts swinging it around, what are you going to do?
But you know how much money that's going to make being it's going to be July, the week after the 4th of July in Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. And you're going to have a whole bunch of people. Plus, it's Conor McGregor, so he's going to get all the Irish lads going there that he always gets going. It's going to get crazy. Plus, you have this. That shit's going to make money. And that's why, like we said, that's why Poirier took this over the title fight. Because I bet you this triples the amount of money that the fight in Houston makes.
Easily. Yeah.
Easily. Not because it's in Houston and then this one's in Vegas, just because of the McGregor and everything surrounding it. It makes it even better that it's in Vegas, but it's going to triple. Like, if he was going to make $5 or $6 million in Houston, Poirier's probably going to make 15-20 million in Vegas.
Yeah.
And easily. And then if he wins, he gets the title shot right away, and then he has the money, and then the title shot. But then here's where what they put out that was masterful of McGregor. If somehow McGregor can pull it out, he gets the title shot.
I mean, it depends on if he's serious or not. Because last time we saw a very unserious McGregor enter the octagon. So.
And then I bet you that's what the UFC is hoping. That's the biggest hope is he wins, because then you get McGregor with the title shot at the beat.
Crazy money.
Poirier.
Crazy money.
That big time money. Yeah. Easy.
No, that's obviously Dana White's desired outcome.
Anik tried to bring me to 264, but his brother decided to go. Yeah, that's what he said. Me and Jay interviewed John Anik. It comes out this Wednesday at noon. So check out our YouTube channel under Cage My IQ, of course. Check that out. It'll come out like he talks about it. He has a twin brother. It's a great interview, but he offered to bring Jay to a UFC event. He said anyone but the McGregor one because of that. So I think Jay's holding out for Ngannou. He said he's holding out for Ngannou if it's hoping that's in Vegas. Yeah. So I'm hoping that does happen. That'd be cool. Just like you said, that would have been dope. It would be dope no matter what. If John Anik invites you to Vegas, you take it. Like maybe next time. I
got other stuff to do. I got a very busy life, you see. I have to take care of my cats.
My cats are my pride and joy.
They're little mischievous little things. I don't want them getting into things while I'm gone.
I don't want to be in your way. You're calling a fight with a crowd.
It's funny.
And then Anik's like, oh, well, you can just sit in the front row. Oh, no, you don't have to. I'd be like, where am I sitting? I'm there. Okay, like I'm not moving.
Just be like the obnoxious tourist person, like, "Hey, you from here? I'm not. This is the first time I've been here. This is great, isn't it? This is great."
He's like, where do you? He's like, where do you want to sit? I'll sit next to the winner of Chandler Oliveira, whoever's gonna get called out by Poirier and McGregor. I'm gonna sit next to them, so that way I know I'm gonna get on TV, and I'll wear my Cage My IQ shirt.
There we go. Free marketing. Free marketing.
Free marketing, because you know it's gonna happen,
right.
and then you can sit next to somebody cool. But is there anything you want to like talk about before we get started with the recap? Since we've been on for 30 minutes, and we haven't even started it yet. As always,
we haven't even touched this shit.
you know what?
That's how it goes.
Fuck it. Yeah, let's talk about the Jake Paul Askren fight first.
Oh boy, here we go.
Let's talk about. I might as well, because it's going to be then or now, and it's better to do it now because it's gonna go on for a while. That's the thing. But right. As anybody know, Jake Paul. Before I do that, did you hear about Frank Mir?
No, I didn't hear what happened.
He had a very good showing in the co-main event.
Okay.
He boxed Cunningham. I think it was Steve Cunningham. He's a former boxer. He came in. I think Frank Mir came in at like 280, 270 or 280. He came in 60 pounds heavier than Cunningham. And this is Frank Mir. This is Frank Mir. Like he does. Like I know he boxes a little bit on the side. It does a little bit of it on the side. Like not much. You wouldn't call him like a boxer,
right?
But he held his own in there. Like I was surprised at how good he did. He held his own, and I think he only lost by 1 round, but he lasted the whole fight. I think it was 8 rounds. I think it was.
They cut it.
He lasted all 8 rounds. He took the decision and barely lost. But everybody said he looked well. Like I caught a little bit of it, but that's what everybody keeps telling me. They're like, he looked good. He looked good. Like for him being an MMA guy, like not bad. Right. So I was. That's good. At least one of the MMA guys looked good.
Right.
Because Ben Askren didn't look good. As Ann Knitter just said, book Jake Paul, book boxing. Dive. There goes Ben. Right. That's basically what it was. If you look at the picture right here, it was the main event. Jake Paul KOs Ben Askren in the first round. Yeah. Here's a nice footage of it after he got knocked down. Let's hide behind the ref.
Yep.
Hide behind the ref and then just do a lot of that. Basically what happened was Ben Askren, who has no skills whatsoever, no basic boxing skills, went up. Basically went to overextend himself with a punch, came back, didn't even basically block himself, and then Jake Paul came out with that I think it was the right hand or left hand.
I think he caught him with a cross, or it was maybe a hook. I forget. Yeah. I saw like a weird doctored version of it that's like not what do you call it? Not copyrighted, so that they won't get a strike on YouTube. So it was showing like really weird angles, and then at the last minute they just kind of like tried to recenter it as best they could, but it was kind of tough to see what was going on. But he wasn't doing great before that point either. Like Ben Askren was flailing around. He was not doing great. He did better than Jake Paul's other 2 opponents, who were not boxers either, mind you. But the first guy played FIFA on the internet, and the other guy was a basketball player. So Ben Askren did better than them, but not by like a wide margin. He was clearly not much of a boxer.
I think Nate Robinson did better than Askren. He lasted.
Basketball player.
Yeah. He lasted more than, what is it, a minute?
Yeah, he kept doing a hugging match. That's why. They just kept hugging the whole time.
Because he knew that he wasn't going to win.
He could barely throw punches. Like, again, he's a basketball player. Like, of course he's not going to be a boxer.
I've seen worse dives. Then afterwards, Ben was smiling and laughing and looking happy because he had a very big payday. And then he had his wife on his shoulders walking out. So, the only thing, like, he took the hit, he fell down, then he got back up, and then he was getting ready to go back in. And the ref was looking at Paul, then looked back at him, and he was like, no. Yeah, and then he called it off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, what are you doing that for? Then and I was perplexed at first. I'm like, why is he calling it off? But then I watched it again. I'm like, he gets hit, he gets knocked down. The ref is supposed to look at him right away and then start counting. What does the ref do? He gets knocked down, and then the ref goes and looks at Jake Paul for like 3 seconds, tells him to back up. And I'm like, aren't you supposed to look at the guy that gets knocked down right away and then start counting and then tell him to back up because he's already knocked down? And I'm like, something's wrong here. Like, he literally spends 3-4 seconds with Jake Paul, then decides to start counting. And by that time, Askren's already getting back up. He's already standing. He's already like moving a little bit. Then you're supposed to do that test with the fighter where you're like, are you good? Are you good? You check his hands to make sure that he can keep his hands up, see if he can make a fist. And then you let him go. He didn't do any of that.
No. He was like, had the arm around him. When he called it off, he was like coddling him. He's like, are you all right? Do you need to talk? It's stupid.
And then he was getting ready to go. Then he just calls it off randomly. I'm like, this guy could have went. Like he probably would have got knocked out in the next minute, but I would at least let him go. They interviewed all these boxers that were there. Like they had 3 or 4 pro boxers that were champions. They interviewed them, and they're like, "What do you think of the stoppage?" They're like, "We think it was a little bit too soon, but we're glad that they did because the dude was going to get knocked out anyway because he has no basic boxing skills."
Yeah,
like they said, he went for the follow through, came back, didn't even block himself, and then he got popped. He left himself open. Like he did a basics. Like he screwed up the very big basic boxing skills. And then,
I mean, if you watched any of the training stuff when he was preparing for this fight, he wasn't training like a fucking boxer. He was like barely training like a Muay Thai guy. I don't know who the fuck his
ref
coach
asked
is.
Ben to walk towards him, and Ben stumbled when he started walking. I think that's why.
That's usually not how that works, but
yeah. So that's usually when he gives him. That's usually when he gives him like the 10 seconds to like regain composure. Like he's like, okay, I'll give you 10 seconds. Then you do the count.
If they called out boxers every time they stumbled because they walked towards the ref, then we would have very few boxing fights that got past the first.
I mean, all the
round.
hits Ben took in MMA as an MMA fighter, and he goes down with that punch by Jake.
Yeah.
that looked just similar to when he got the knee from Masvidal. Boom, down. Like shit's nuts. But then that happened, and then the acting that Jake Paul did afterwards, like he won like a championship belt. Like they had like this red they had this red championship belt there, and I'm like, really?
For what?
Like if anybody wants to
champion talk of exactly.
If anybody wants to talk shit on the BMF belt, the BMF belt that they made for UFC.
Yeah,
that shit is 100 times better than this red belt that looked like plastic. If I can find a picture of it right now, let me go look at that.
That's so stupid. But that's really what this is, though, right? This is rich boy. I want to be a boxer fantasy without any of the real risk behind that. I want to throw my money at, people who are good at trainers in the industry and, go through the Rocky montage experience and then like win a few boxing fights against non-boxers and present myself with a bullshit fucking belt so I can go on the internet and tell people how much of a badass I am. That's what this is. Like 100%. This is so fucking stupid.
Let's see if I can find it on.
Oh God.
I see now that I'm looking for it, I'm not gonna find it.
Oh boy!
Because they had like 2 women, these 2 TikTokers holding the belt for him, and then
of course they do. Of course, everything about this fight was a fucking joke.
That was a funny fake belt they put on Jake. Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. It was a fake belt, and it was funny. Like
everything about this was a joke. They didn't even bring in real commentators. Like, did you hear the commentary? It was so stupid.
What was it? Ric Flair supposed to be on there? I heard he was supposed to be on there. I knew he was backstage, but I went and saw it. I'm like, okay. I'm like, there's Snoop Dogg. I saw Snoop Dogg. He was like, yeah, that's my boy. That's my boy. 2 million. And I'm like, dude. You're not supposed to be getting hype over Jake Paul. And then it was that what's his name? He's that actor / comedian from Saturday Night Live.
I found the fake belt. I found it.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Oh God.
Oh wait.
Geez.
Oh God, this is even worse. You said it was red? This isn't even a red one. Oh God, he made another one.
Oh God, no.
One wasn't enough. Oh,
Stumbled
God.
on what? It was so fake, a joke, if a show, a waste of money. Yeah.
That's why I didn't pay no
Like-
$50 for it. I just watched the replay on YouTube for free. Fuck that shit.
I
Oh,
watched it a
God.
different way. I won't say what way, but I caught like I didn't even watch it. I caught
Remember, the
like,
FBI's
like you said-
listening. They're listening.
I know. I caught it. I caught the replay somewhere else. It's similar to YouTube.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. It's similar to YouTube.
Hey, if anything, I didn't really watch the main
Uh.
fight. I only caught the replay right after it was already done. And then I quickly flipped over to watching the actual main event of an actual fight that was on UFC. Ric Flair was judging a slap. What? He was judging a slap contest backstage in between the fights.
Slap fight. That's probably a
Okay,
better
we
use
got-
this time.
And we got Alex Ramirez coming in. Cage IQ, thanks for tuning in. Hey, if
What's
you
up?
want to hop, hey Alex, if you want to hop on, I can post the link back in the main chat. Let me know. We'll letting people come on just to talk shit and then talk about these fights because that's what kind of day it is after that boxing fight. You know, it was a shit show.
Oh God.
We got
What is WEC? This is so I'm looking at the fake belts. Is this like an
WEC.
WBC?
Oh, WBC World Boxing Championship.
There's no way this is a
yeah,
legit
no.
belt. It's
No.
green. What?
Yeah.
It's fucking green.
Oh, there's my guy Cage Talk. There he is.
Jesus.
What's going on, man? What's going
What
on?
up?
What's up? What's up, guys? How you guys
Not
doing?
much.
Not much.
We're not
What's
doing
going
anything
on?
productive, so don't worry about us. Just don't mind us. We're looking
yeah,
at fake belts right now.
Yeah, we got started with the Jake Paul Ben Askren fight. Figured I'd start with that.
Yeah, that was a mess.
Yeah, it was.
To say the least.
Yeah. Oh,
So
you got it
this
coming
is
on right
the-
now?
I got it here. Here's
Okay.
the fake belt in question. Yep. I mean, what do you say about that? Like, Jesus.
Well, I know.
Christ.
I know the one that was
Oh.
there was red, but I think that was the other one.
All right, fake belt. Ben Askren.
I think
fight?
the best part was when they interviewed his brother, and his brother was like, "You guys keep talking shit on him, and he proves everybody wrong. He trains this. He trains
Proved
I'm like,
everybody wrong. That's not how I'd characterize that.
Look, I give him props for it. I give him props for
Oh, here it is.
training, taking it seriously.
I found it. It's right here. I can't zoom in on it too
Yeah.
much. Hold on, let me try to blow
here
it
we
up
go.
a little bit.
Yeah, let me go add Jay in. What's up, Jay?
Oh God, it's a clusterfuck now. There it is. Here's the. Oh, that's even worse. It just says Fight Club on it.
Yeah, that belt is fucking. Oh, my
fuck.
God.
Oh, that looks like he got it off of like Sentry.com or some shit, like where you get your nunchucks and your foam bow staffs. Oh, that is awful.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Let me move that banner so we can see everybody right here.
that's pretty rough.
We just got MMA Drunkie coming in, aka Jay.
Oh, God. Yikes. What's up, man?
What's up, my boys?
I'm at a
Not
loss
much.
for words.
What's up, Alex?
What's up, Jay? How's everything?
How are you, buddy?
Oh man.
Uh,
So this is how
that-
we're using our evening.
I'm just doing a dine and dash, man. If I get on here, we're gonna be
Yeah.
on here for fucking 5 hours, and no.
At this rate, we're
Yeah.
already heading in that direction anyway.
We
so,
are,
I mean,
yeah.
whatever.
Probably.
We're
on
40 minutes in. We're
yeah.
only at Ben
What were you guys
Askren.
talking about? Were you talking about Astrid Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, first we started with the Drakkar Close Jeremy Stevens thing.
Yeah, I
and
was
then-
in that conversation while I was
And then
texting
we-
back.
Yeah.
And then we slowly moved on to Jake Paul and Ben Askren.
Yeah, it just shows how long you guys are gonna fucking be on here. I had time to go to the grocery store, get groceries. You guys just started
Yeah.
when I left work. I had time to go and get groceries, get gas,
Yeah, that's about right.
get home.
I'm
Dinner's in
not
the
going anywhere, so I'm not
Oh,
going anywhere.
God.
So I said, "Fuck it." I was like, I might
Right.
as well pull just my 2 cents and go on for like 3 hours. You
While
know?
we're on this, why don't we get you guys to weigh on this? What do you guys think of Conor McGregor versus He-Man? And they can both bring swords and they can fight it out.
I got nothing.
Hey, I said Jorge Masvidal against Skeletor, so you know, Jesus
God.
against Skeletor.
Yeah, I didn't come on here for fantasy matchups, man. Let's talk some shit.
All right.
Hey,
I'm
you
ready
got
to
that-
go whenever. So
Okay.
I'm only
what
here
did
for
you
a
guys-
few minutes. Let's get this shit going.
Okay,
he's ready to
man.
go. All right, he's
Yeah.
ready. He's ready.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Oh, man.
So let me get your guys' opinion before we move on to the Askren Paul fight.
Wait, we're not on that right now?
I thought that's what you were on.
Yeah.
I know. I'm saying I'm getting their opinions on it.
Oh, you said before we move on to the fight. I was
What?
like, wait, what?
Yeah, before
That's
you
where
move
we
on
are.
to Vegas.
There we
Listen,
go.
man, I'm not going to deny Jake Paul. Dude has a thunderous fucking right hand. Now, can he do that against boxers or anything? He
Yeah.
chose the worst fucking boxer in MMA to represent MMA. You tell me a worse boxer than Ben Askren. He chose the worst boxer in MMA. And, you know, I think the fight could have gone on a little bit longer, but I mean, dude face planted. Come on.
Yeah, it was gonna end in a minute anyway. I think.
I agree.
I don't
Alex,
know.
what do you think?
I think he took more punishment from Robbie Lawler to just lose like that. But I mean, regardless, the
Which makes
commentating
me
was so
wonder,
bad,
did
I
he
wanted-
take a
I wanted
dive,
it
you
to
know?
end. Yeah, I just wanted it to end. To be honest with you, I just listening to commentating. I was just like, Jesus Christ,
It was
this is
bad,
awful.
wasn't it? That
It
was
was
the thing about
really
the
bad. I thought-
commentating. I was like, what is this even?
Well, at first, when I watched the video, because again, I didn't watch it. I saw it on
Right.
YouTube. I was
Same.
like, oh, maybe that's someone like you know, it's an overlay or something. Like someone's like just
Right.
like dubbed it in, and then I went to multiple ones. I'm like, oh no, that's
Those are the people they got.
Yeah, like Jesus Christ. Like, it just sounded like some ghetto ass promotion. I'm like, ugh.
It sounded like there was just a bunch of dudes sitting around a cooler with like a little mini portable TV watching it, just talking
That was
shit.
like if we were
all
like
it was.
commentating on the UFC event, and people were like, oh shit, look at that fucking move. Like, I'm
Right.
just like, this is
Never in my
awesome.
life have I ever wanted to blow my brains out, but once De La Hoya got on there, dude, I was trying to find a gun, man. I was
God.
trying to find a
Oh
gun.
no! Oh
He-
no!
he-
USSSA! Arr!
Oh god!
It was
Oh
bad.
boy!
It was bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was between that and then you got Snoop Dogg going up there, like I say, jumping up like, that's my boy. Yeah, 2 million. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was like, pay me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kept on saying that. I was just like, what the fuck?
This
If
isn't
that
even a
didn't
fight
kill
anymore.
boxing, I don't know what is. Boxing
Jesus.
slowly.
Hey, Mount
Boxing
Westmore
is
was
the
pretty
easy
dope,
grab.
though. Mount Westmore was Mount Westmore was pretty dope, though. Come on.
Yeah.
That
And
was
then,
pretty
and then
fucking
you see,
dope.
and then at the end, you see them painting off into like the locker room where you see Ben Askren walking to the back, smiling with his wife. No,
My stream
walking
might have cut
back.
out.
Paid.
He was probably like
It's still good.
500K. He's like 500K deep in my pockets now. just
Alex,
for
I
taking
didn't
a
actually
dive.
buy it.
I don't either, but then that just it kind of brings the question because a lot of people were making fun of this. Is just that
Right.
man, these guys are making more money than professional fighters are actually
Yeah.
doing. So that
Right.
kind of puts Dana White in a shitty position, or just MMA promotions in general.
Right.
No, for sure.
It's,
For sure.
It's true. It sucks because you get these fucking clowns. I mean, this guy was doing YouTube. Shit, I was doing YouTube, and then he
Right.
gets to call out boxers or fighters and stuff, and he gets to fight them, and he still gets paid for it. Like
Right.
it's just all working again for him. Again, and there's nothing against him. Again, I never knew anything about them until my friend showed me, and until the other fight he had, the very first boxing fight. I didn't know much of him, but
Yeah.
again, I mean, he's doing his thing. I mean, hey, if the thing is, he's getting these people to bite. All these fighters and stuff, they're biting on
Right.
trying to fight with him, and I mean, he's probably gonna bank off of them.
I mean, it pays to have all that rich boy YouTube money to live out your fantasies with. So, I
Welcome
guess
to
if they're
America.
willing to do it,
Welcome to fucking America.
they'll
It's
fucking
crazy.
do it.
I know
God.
he spent all that money on sparring with people. Hey, at least I will say this with him. At least he took it serious with his training. Where it looks like Ben Askren, what he did, it looked like he ate like a box of donuts and then got into the ring.
I mean, I think he probably took it about as seriously as it was fun, right? Like, I don't think he went to a straight up, like, grueling boxing training camp. No, I think he was like, I'll put a few hours in at the gym, I'll spar some people, have some fun, but like, relative to a professional.
I kind of got to disagree on that. You know how much Freddie Roach costs for a week?
Yeah. Oh, he's got the money to pay for him at his convenience. However much that is, or Jake Paul can pay for that. And because he was willing to throw like how much money at fucking McGregor to get his ass beat? $50
million.
Yeah, like he's got the money. He can pay for a private coach who's really, really good and just have him around for his Rocky montage moments.
Well, I'm telling you, Askren had to pay for Freddie Roach.
Well, that makes Freddie Roach look like shit because
exactly
that's even worse.
That was going to be my next point.
Oh God!
If this was cut, because again, I think I talked to several people. I think it was fixed. So Freddie Roach probably got a good chunk of that money. Everyone got a good chunk of that money. It had to be. If you think about it, I mean, why put your name and why tarnish your name for someone to just get knocked out? And he looked like he looked exactly like the Ben Askren when he fought in MMA. Like his stand up was garbage. That's like asking Matt Hughes to fight some boxing. Like you would never do that because Matt Hughes' stand up was horrible.
Yeah.
That's why I think Ben Askren had so much success in one because I think mainly because of his wrestling skills, and then over there they're not used to that style of wrestling, and then he was able to take advantage of it. Over here, I think guys are more evolved over here than over there, and he got popped. Then he gained this dad bod, and obviously you see it. He gained 20 pounds for the fight. Like he usually comes in at 150 and he comes in at 170, and you could tell like he wasn't in shape. At least in boxing shape, I should say.
There was no. I don't think there was any chance. A lot of people are trying to give him a chance. I just don't see it. Like you can't fix your stand up in a couple months. It's impossible.
Especially not that stand up.
Especially his stand up. Like it was the ugliest stand up ever. Like even he did look like he didn't know how to throw a punch. So regardless, I felt like, I mean, it played out the way I kind of thought it would. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I mean, the other kid, I mean, he's like you said, Cage IQ, like he's been putting in the work. It's not like he's just been putting in the work now. He's been slowly.
He's been doing it for like 3 years.
Yeah, he's been slowly. I mean, everyone gives him shit because now he's YouTube, this and that, but you got to push that to the side. And now he's taking it serious. So I mean,
and I can't. I have to agree with you as well because I mean, he had like Evander Holyfield work. He had a lot of big name boxers that have worked with him over these past 3 years. I mean, if you look at some of these boxers on YouTube and in their interviews, they told everybody Jake Paul's for real. And I didn't doubt that. I don't see him as the YouTube kid anymore. I just want to see him fight stiffer competition, like T Wood. I'd watch him fight T Wood. Yeah, I think that would be a much better fight.
What do you think about? I think you saw it on Twitter. Mike Perry was talking about he's going to get Dustin Poirier to train him, and then he wants to box Jake Paul.
He's just lonely.
Yeah, exactly.
He's tired of his girlfriend or wife or whoever the hell she is. But the thing is, man, it's boxing and MMA stand up is completely different, and a lot of people don't realize that it's a whole different ball game. And you might have good stand up for MMA, but when you go in a boxing ring, I mean it's completely different.
Totally different world, man.
Yeah.
I will give credit to James Toney at least because at least he came into the octagon as a boxer. At least gave it a try.
He got ankle picked by Randy Couture.
He did.
the lamest takedown ever. He got taken down by.
But at least he gave it a chance against a guy like that. And then I give him props because, hey, he looked better in there than Ben Askren looked in the boxing ring.
Hey, but you'd be surprised, man. There's a lot of UFC fighters that transition from boxing to UFC. The man right here, Chris Lytle, watch a couple of him. He had almost
And
like
the
40.
stone, baby.
Yeah, man. He had like 40 boxing matches before he went to the UFC. And
Watch Holly Holm.
Yeah,
Holly Holm.
Oh, she's good too.
Holy
yeah.
shit, Holly
She's
Holm.
solid. Yeah.
Transition.
I want to see her
perfectly.
fight Jake Paul.
Yep.
Please.
Yeah. Transition.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
transition beautifully from boxing to MMA, man. So
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think even Chris Leben had a little bit of boxing in him. Not like that big, but he had the skills with the wrestling, and that's what led him to MMA.
Chris Leben just got. If you ever seen Chris Leben, he got a head on him, man. He can take a punch, man. Yeah, he has a thick old skull, man. But again, Chris Leben had that background of wrestling, so he was good, and he loved fighting. He liked to stand up, and I think he was also the one calling him out too. There was a couple people calling him out.
Yeah, Chris Leben did.
Yeah. So, he knows not to dabble in that water. Because
his head's already messed up right now from that, and then the drugs.
Oh no, he's got CTE. He's got the brain damage that isn't diagnosed until you're dead.
Yeah,
he's got it.
He already.
Oh,
he knows
that's
about
rough. That's rough.
I couldn't help but cringe when he was doing that CTE thing because I'm just like, they can't diagnose that until you're actually dead, right, dumbass?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I got CTE. Doctor's telling me I got CTE. You got early onset Alzheimer's, dipshit.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a ref now, so he's doing something still.
Wait, who?
Leaving.
Oh, is he reffing now?
He's licensed. Yeah. He's licensed in California, and he's trying to get licensed everywhere else now.
Gotcha.
But he does a good job. He said he said all the refs there, like the main guys, like Herb Dean and them.
I was thinking
question
Jen
him all
Fogel
the
there for a
time.
second.
They question him on the spot, like, "What are you doing? This, and this." He says that's what they do all the time to each other, just to test each other out.
They need to get Mario Yamazaki and Steve Mazzagatti back in.
Yeah. They were the best, man. They were the best.
I guess we're move on over to Vegas 24 now. I guess we might as well do that.
Yeah.
Hour in, and then we finally get to that. But we had Vegas 24. Like I said, the only difference with the card the day of was they took off Stevens and Close, and then they put on Fish and Cortez in that spot, and then they moved Sherman and Orlovsky to the co-main event. But I guess we'll start with the first fight, which was Luis Pena defeated Alexander Munoz by split decision. I'll start with you, Jay. What did you think of this?
I'm gonna keep that short and sweet, man. I mean, Luis Pena, he had a lot of hype, when he was at AKA and working with DC and all those guys, and he had a lot of hype behind him. I mean, I don't think his head's all the way in it. I honestly don't. I think he probably has, the tools to be successful, but I just don't think he wants to. I mean, plain and simple. I mean, he like his size at lightweight. I mean, he should be destroying people like Munoz. Mm-hmm. But I mean, yeah, I'm just quite disappointed. There's nothing much more I can say about Luis Pena. I don't even think he deserved the win.
Yeah, I think the last round is the only reason why, because I thought he was losing. To be honest with you, I just that the last round kind of defined it, but still, I guess not that I'm not sold on him, but he's been bitching and complaining that he wanted to fight this and that. I think there was another fight that he got. I think the fighter dropped or something like that, and then he couldn't fight. He didn't look like he was eager to get in there and
I thought his transition to American Top Team, he was going to look like so much better, and he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Waste of money.
That's what I thought. I thought it was going to be a smooth transition. We did the preview on Thursday, and Jim was like, "Oh, I'm high on him. He's moving over to here." it's going to fit his skill set, because he was going from wrestling to a grappler style, and he's more of a grappler than he is a wrestler. I thought it was going to fit him even more, but I didn't see it as much as I thought I was going to see. I thought he was going to dominate, and of course he didn't. That's why it was a split decision. Like he barely squeaked it out. A lot of people think he should have lost.
Yeah.
Then he did win. It was hit or miss. I thought the last round. I thought going into the third. I thought it was maybe a tie. Like one of the rounds could have went either way, but then he pulled it out in the third. And I'm like, it could have went either way, but I'm not going to make a fuss about it because of being the first fight. What did you think, Miles?
Man, I thought Munoz won this. Like, he just did. First of all, Pena, he was like faking and feinting, but he wouldn't do anything with it. Like, that's the whole point. When you feint and fake, you're supposed to draw a move out of somebody. Maybe get them to move their guard or throw something that they shouldn't have thrown and then capitalize. He just kept doing it and like didn't do anything with it. And eventually Munoz was just like, "Are you okay, dude? Like, what's happening? Like, are you stroking out? Like, Jesus, dude, calm down." And like, he never really got started. It seemed like it just was like the first round. It was just Munoz getting past his ridiculous range and punching him in the face a bunch of times. And then, like when he was getting wrestled to death, he got taken down like twice, and then he finally figured out, oh yeah, I got to swim under, and he did that really well. He was able to swim under, get the double underhooks every time, and make that stop happening in the second and third round. But there wasn't a lot of difference in the stand up when they were striking. It was like the second round, he got a little bit more energized. He started throwing the jab a little bit more. He started to catch. But then he did this like weird jerky thing where it was like a half feint. He didn't want to feint, but he didn't want to not feint. It's like he couldn't decide. I was like, "What are you doing, guy?" And the only reason Munoz was backing up is because he was getting caught with that jab. And then once he found a way around the jab, he just kept going through and just blew through him. I had 2 rounds to 1, and the only reason I called it 1 for Pena initially when I was watching it was because he was starting to land those 1-2 combinations, and he was landing them with some consistency throughout the round, but it's not like he was doing amazing. It was like a narrow win there at the third, but even then you could make a case for Munoz having the third round and getting a clean sweep there. So, I mean, no matter how you look at it, it just seemed to me like definitely Munoz won. And then I checked out the stats, the per round stats, and that just confirmed my bias even more. So this is what I'm looking at. Hold on, let me show you. So a lot of this seemed to go the way I was thinking it would go in my gut, where Pena really only had overall 10 significant strikes difference, whereas here you got 2 minutes of ground control time for Munoz and 4 takedowns, and there's only a 10-strike difference, and Pena gets the win. How the fuck does that work? And they weren't even like knockdowns. These were like minor, he got hit, it kind of hurt, but he kept going sort of significant strikes. Nothing to write home about here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I didn't see it.
Could have went either way, but I will say this though: looking at that picture, tell me he does not look like Sideshow Bob.
He does look like Bob Ross. That's the thing. He really does look like Bob. He should start up a painting show if MMA doesn't work out. People will just click on it, mistaking him for Bob Ross.
Painting with Bob Ross. There we go. Love it.
Except he'll start.
He's got the look.
Oh, that's not him.
Yeah, he's got the look and the nickname to be a superstar. You know what I mean? Right. But he just he can't deliver, in the way that we want him to. So I he was lucky to get the win.
Right. Let's hope he has a better show next time.
He's not getting past unless some things change here. There's no way he even gets into the bottom 15. Like. No. He'd have to get through Gregor Gillespie and Al Iaquinta.
He's nowhere even close.
No way.
He's like in the 50s.
Railroaded.
But let's move on from that to the second fight, which was probably one of my favorite fights of the card, which was the Tracy Cortez defeating Justine Kish by split decision. I'll start with you, Alex.
So I'm not gonna lie. I remember I was really excited because I like watching Tracy. She's nice to look at. So I remember they were introducing them and stuff like that. I was laying in bed. All of a sudden, I close my eyes for 2 seconds. I wake up. I'm in the second round already, and she's doing that. And I'm like, what the hell's happening? I'm like, shit, I missed it. But what I saw it looked good. It looked good. She was aggressive. I mean, standing up, ground game. I mean, she looked good. That's all. I'm sorry.
What about you?
I'm being honest. I wake up at 2:30 in the morning to work, so I was a little in and out. Yeah.
Yikes.
All good. What about you, Jay?
Listen, Justine Kish is the definition of a journeywoman. I mean, that's, but if at the beginning of the fight, if you wouldn't have known anything about these two fighters when they were announcing their names, you would have thought that Justine Kish was about to stomp a hole in Tracy Cortez's ass. Mm-hmm. But Tracy Cortez, yeah, she's nice to look at. There's no question about that. It was so great when they did the weigh-ins and like Sean Shelby and I think one of the other guys, as she was walking out, it was totally obvious. But I mean, Tracy Cortez is a tank, man. She is strong. And her top control is pretty damn good because, Justine Kish, that's a strong-ass woman to hold down. And she did it, man. I mean, it was quite surprising. And, based on the fights that I've seen of Tracy Cortez, I didn't think that she would do that to Justine Kish. It was actually quite impressive. I will give her that much. I think
your birds think the same thing, too.
They agree.
I'm gonna let that bird go this summer. Because every fucking podcast I do, that bird's in the background going, cat, 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 cat. Shut the fuck up.
He wants to be included.
Hey, that's your co-host.
Yeah. So, but no, I mean, long story short, man, Tracy Cortez looked amazing. She did. I think she probably needs one more fight, and then maybe there's not really that many flyweights. So, I'll give her a top 15 matchup next time. Because there isn't that many flyweights. Is she a title contender? No, I'm not going to say that yet. But I mean, so far, she's 3-0 in the UFC, so that's nothing to scoff at.
Right.
I would like her to fight. What's the shitty ass one? The one I had a bad interview.
Lauren.
Oh yeah, Lauren. I like to see Tracy Cortez just whip her ass. Hell yeah.
You really hate her, don't you, Alex?
I really dislike that lady. Like that bad.
Oh God.
He called her the C word.
Oh boy.
I did. I don't like saying that word, but she was.
Exactly.
Oh boy.
It was bad, man. It was bad.
What about you, Miles?
This was a pretty good showing for Cortez. I had her 2-1 on Kish, and the second round I had for Kish, but pretty narrowly at that. Because I mean, basically, like Kish would keep her on her feet to try to strike with her, but she just got consistently taken down, and then Cortez would just control her, get into that standing top guard, just rain down some punches, and then change around to a few key positions. She really stuck around in like standing front guard, controlling the turtle guard, the north-south, and then she would like find her way to the back somehow through some voodoo magic. But yeah, I mean. Anytime it went to like grappling, standing, wrestling, ground stuff, it was all Cortez. And then Kish was giving her the business on a few of those striking exchanges, but Cortez was holding her own. Like she was firing back with a much more seasoned striker. This isn't Kish. Wasn't she like a former world champion in Muay Thai? Like that says a lot. If you can stand toe to toe with that lady and still trade back and forth, like that's some serious growth.
Yeah, she looks like a tank, man.
She's very powerful for her size.
She was taking a lot of damage, but then she later on she came in and she was doing her own. I was surprised after all the shots she was taking that she was giving it back.
Yeah.
I give her that. I give her credit for that. Like I thought she was dead in the water in the second round, and then she came back. Then I thought she had the third round. I was surprised they made it a split decision. Mm-hmm. I guess maybe in the second round they thought she did enough damage to steal it, but I still had Cortez taking the second round. Like whenever they went to the ground, it was all her. But I will say, Kish when they were standing up for majority of it, Kish was being the more effective fighter standing up.
Yeah.
Like, her trading with those punches a lot. Those were some heavy ass punches, especially that knockdown. What was it in like the third round where Cortez just got back up? She weathered that storm somehow or another. She came back strong after that, though.
This is what I thought Sherman Orlovsky was going to be. That's what I thought this was going to be, and it wound up being the women that put on the show over them.
Right.
But she definitely deserves like a good fight. Like
I'd
was
give
the third one.
her. I'd give her Miranda Maverick. I think that'd be an interesting challenge for.
Well,
Cortez.
Well, she's got
Maverick-
Macy Barber to deal
Yeah.
with.
I
Yeah,
know,
that's-
but I know.
Yeah.
but I still want to see that
I
fight.
don't know if that might be a little too early.
that's a
for
little
me.
too much.
I
Yeah.
like Miranda a lot. She still has to develop her game, but
Mhm.
that's just throwing her into the wolves. I think the UFC wants to kind of to hype her up a little bit more. Let
Nurture her
get
a little.
more control.
They just want to figure out right
Well-
now which one of them's going to be the superstar.
exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
When
Well,
we-
Maverick,
it's pretty good too.
Well, when we
Well,
talked about
Maverick-
it, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, looking at the rankings right now, they got Maverick going with Barber. That's the 15 against the 14.
Mhm.
They could put up against Santos. Santos, I don't think has anybody right now. Because looking at it, everybody else is booked.
Lauren Murphy
Unless
ain't
you-
doing shit.
Yeah.
She's in Houston, recovering.
Cunt punch
That's what
her.
She fucking told me she's recovering, but she's bitching and complaining on Twitter.
Oh boy.
Mm.
Yeah,
Hey, Lauren Murphy, if you're tuned in right now, give us a comment.
yeah. please do.
Is it just me though? But does it just seem like there's a lot more split decisions going on these days?
Well, they were talking about that. I think there was.
There was 4, I think.
there
4.
was like
I'm just talking about in general. It seems like in Bellator, every fucking fight is a damn split decision. You know,
Right.
it's like they're
Well,
trying to
that's
build
just-
up hype every time.
That's just Bellator.
Well,
Well, I'm just talking about in general. Even in the UFC, we're seeing a lot of split decisions that should have been unanimous.
right.
A lot more these days, and I don't know if they're working for the bookies or what. But
I think it has something to do with the fact that they need more judges. There's only 3 people judging this fight. If they got at least 5, they
Yeah.
could kind of take the average of the 3 best. But
Well,
then you wouldn't have these like outliers who are like, no, I think that guy who clearly lost got like 3 rounds or whatever. So
or have
That-
3
that's
judges
what
and
they
open
should
scoring.
do.
Open
That's
scoring
what they
works
should
too.
do. And they need to stop trying to mimic boxing with the judging, where you have 3 judges to the 10-9 scorecard or whatever.
right.
I actually like one championship.
Yeah, they judged
their
the whole
score's
fight.
better. Yeah.
That's like Pride. Pride used to do the
Yeah,
same
Pride
thing.
too.
Yep, I like that. Again, I've talked to a lot of fighters like that, and that rule, the 10-9, 10-8 round,
So
it just doesn't work for.
Right.
it's
for
for
MMA.
boxing.
It
It's
really doesn't.
boxing. It does not work in MMA.
Yep.
Because how can you distinguish a 10-8 from a 10-9? Like, how
Right.
much damage do you got to do and flick to get that 10-8? Like,
And
Well,
surprisingly now, because a lot of people think just because you take the person down doesn't mean you win the round. A lot of people think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
Not
people
anymore.
get confused with that. A lot of people get confused.
I'm
Back
gl-
in the
I'm
day,
glad they
it might
updated
And they
have
don't
worked.
understand. Yeah, and they're so inconsistent with their 10-8s. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
yeah.
You see a lot of rounds that are definitely 10-8s that they don't call a 10-8. And then
Right.
you have one that's definitely not a 10-8, and they gave him a 10-8. I don't think the MMA judges quite understand the 10
They
10-point
need,
must
they
system.
need to look at Frankie Edgar versus Gray Maynard.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Round 1. That's a 10-8 round.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
right.
Oh my god! Because yeah, like I'm glad they fixed that, because before you could outpunch a guy 30 punches to like 2, be kicking his ass, and then he could take you down and win the round just because that one takedown. Like
Yeah.
it was so like overpowered with how they did it. You would just have all these wrestlers coming in and doing that, the John Fitch style. That's what I call it. Just take down and lay and pray and win. And then they fixed it, and then of course John Fitch, they kicked him out after they did that, because that's all he did.
He
But
said he had exciting fights, though. That's when I had him on. That's what he's told me.
I'm
All
sure
right.
I'm sure that's what Dana White thought too.
Maybe it was exciting for him when he was doing it. Maybe that's he
Yeah.
got confused there.
Yeah, I was just like, you're right.
Okay,
Oh, you're
sure.
right.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna argue with that one.
Exciting.
Yeah. You're right.
That's why you're still in the UFC, you know.
Exactly.
Right.
That's why we're
But-
doing this
Jeez.
podcast together.
Oh
Exactly.
boy.
Oh jeez.
Oh geez.
But,
Yeah.
let's move on to the third fight. We had a middleweight matchup. We had Jacob Malkoun, who defeated Abdul Razak Al Hazan by unanimous decision. I'll start with you, Miles.
Man, this was a big improvement for Malcolm. I mean, you could only go up from there. Getting knocked out in like 20 seconds in your debut, like that you could only get better. So that's the good news. He didn't do worse. But given his background, it was a little surprising the performance he gave because he's actually got a boxing background. I watched some of his older fight stuff a while back, and it was mostly just like standing up. He would sometimes take center octagon and like try to pressure guys onto the outside and stuff. But he was definitely more of just like a stand-up guy, not even very much kicking. That's why I characterize it more as boxing than KB. And then he comes out here and puts on like a wrestling clinic, right? Like he's got very good wrestling now, I think, after working with Whittaker and their team and stuff after all that time. But he did a great job. Basically, I had it as a clean sweep. I had him taking all 3 rounds because he just did the same thing every time. Yep. He would just corner Al Hassan, take him down, and even all the heat that Al Hassan was throwing, he just get past that, put him up against the cage and work. And he actually had a lot of like different ways that he would try to do the takedowns. He had those leg reaps he would try. He tried doing that, like I'm going to pick the leg out and then just try to change his momentum. He's very creative in the different ways he was trying to get Al Hassan down. But even then, he would just burn all of Al Hassan's stamina, getting him to wrestle on the cage, take him to the ground, not even a full takedown necessarily, make him work in like something like a turtle guard for a while, and then he'd get his way back up, and then he'd be like, oh, you're not going to do that. And he'd slip around, get the headlock, transition into an anaconda lock, back into side control, and just repeat that for about a minute. So poor Al Hassan, not the wrestling guy, not the grappler, was just... He just gassed out so fast after the first round. The second round, it was like he was barely a lot of the strikes you were throwing. You were like, this guy's tired. This guy's obviously really tired. But I mean, Malcone earned it. He did a great job controlling a fighter who, if he tried to go toe to toe with, probably would have knocked his shit. So that's a strategy he should have done, and he executed it well. He probably is going to have to do more, fights in the bottom 15 or the 20s before he has a shot to move up because the 22nd knockout by Phil Hodge, but maybe give him a rematch at some point. Maybe give him Omar Akhmedov when he gets a shot to move into the top 15. But I mean, as long as he stays on the path he's on, he could be a problem for some of the fighters in this division.
I think more so Brad Tavares would be a good one. Mm-hmm. But like you said, he did a good job. Like I call it the backpack effect. Like when the wrestler gets him down and then the guy has to carry you up to get up because you're putting all your weight.
Where he literally had to like throw him off
3 times. Three times he had him on his back and he got up and I'm like, you're getting up, but you're wasting so much energy. Yeah. And like they basically said the commentator that was filling in for Anik basically said his game plan was that he needed to knock him out in the first round before he gassed out. And then at that point I knew, okay, Malcone, all he's going to do is wrestle him down and wear his energy out because once he gets him past that first round, it was basically a lock to win because he did catch him once, but he had no energy on that punch in the second round that even when he hit him, it was like he was just tapping him like, hey, how you doing? How's it going? Like it was masterful. Like everybody... Even me, everybody picked against Malcone. Everybody did. And
I would have picked. I picked against Malcone too because I mean, all we saw of him in his first fight against Phil Haas was he got knocked out. Well, what you don't know about Malcone is he has a gold. He's an ADCC gold medalist.
Yeah,
dude knows BJJ. If in that first fight, and I'm high on Phil Haas, but if Malcone would have got out of that first, would have even maybe got halfway through that first round with Phil Haas, he would have just wrestle fucked him and did the same thing that he did to Al Hassan. Al Hassan, overrated. I'm sorry. I mean, he has one weapon, and that's a knockout.
Yeah. When he was down, Phil Haas too, but
true. But Phil Haas is
He's a good wrestler, though. Like you can't take away wrestling from Phil Haas, and he's a power striker. He needs to work on his striking, but
when I saw Al Hassan on the ground, I had flashbacks to Francis against Stipe in the first fight. He had no answer to get up. He wasn't using technique to try to get up. He had no idea what to do.
Right.
And and Malcone had the perfect game plan.
Mhm.
The only game plan to beat this guy is to get him down to the ground so he's not slinging fists at your face.
Mhm.
You know, and Malkoun, he looked quite impressive, man.
Mhm.
You know, I'd be curious to know how that Phil Hawes fight went if he didn't get knocked out that fast.
Right.
And listen, he's only got 6 fights too. I mean, he trains with Robert Whittaker, and I've heard Robert Whittaker talk about Malkoun, and he is high on that guy.
Mhm.
You know, I like I said, is Malkoun a title contender? I'm not going to say that yet, but he has the tools, man. He has the tools to compete in the middleweight division by doing that. So, I mean, like Al Hassan, he needs to work, man. He has a lot of work to do. Yeah. Other than hitting pads. You know what I mean?
Isn't it interesting that they train together, but they're in the same division?
Right.
Like I know Burns and Usman trained together, but they were in different divisions at first, and then Burns went back to welterweight. These guys have been in the same division the whole time. I'm like, I just thought of that now. I'm like, they're both middleweights. They're both in the same division.
Malkoun looks like he could probably drop to 170 if he wanted to. I mean, not saying that he's going to, but I mean, his body frame, he's not a big guy. He's not a big guy. I mean, go ahead.
If you rewatch the Phil Hawes fight, Phil Hawes came in like
guns
he shot him.
Yeah,
he shot
his ass up.
Yeah, man.
Not even that. He shot at him very quickly and hit him with that one punch, and then that's what it was. Like I don't think Malkoun expected that. He got caught off guard and they got hit. I think if he would have game plan knowing that he was going to get charged like that, he probably could have won that.
I mean, that's MMA, man. That's how that shit works. Like, you got to be ready for that.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know what he thought was going to happen, but that's the other thing. I think he needs a lot of work on his striking. From what I saw, it wasn't like technically inefficient. It was just like he had almost no head movement. He needed to put more combinations. He was relying mostly on 1s, 2s, or barrages, which is the mark of a very, very basic, very elementary striker. And I think right now his grappling seems like his bread and butter. But if he really wants to be a contender in the middleweights, you got to have striking too. Like you can't just put it all on one thing. So unless he builds that up, he's probably capped at about bottom of the top 10 at most, but probably floating around the 10 to 15 range.
Yeah, I think he could float around that 10 to 15 mark, but I don't see him going any higher than that.
Not until he gets hands. Not until he gets hands.
I could see him. We've seen
Damian Maia.
here.
Well, Damian Maia didn't need hands. I mean, and he always stayed in that top 10. But I'm not putting him on Damian Maia's level.
I was going to say.
I was just using it as an example.
What about this? What about this? Who doesn't have hands? That was in the top 10. Ben Askren.
Oh god, I was going to say that as a joke.
Ben Askren.
He was a champion for like a few years.
And he had a solid 3 fights with the UFC, and that came to a grinding halt.
Which is another reason why I think they should, like Alex said, they could have let it go a little bit longer. Ben's a tough son bitch.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. He seemed like he was okay. He could have kept going, but for some reason that ref was like, "No, I gotta end it." But
boxing refs are pussies.
Yeah,
but I could see Malkoun in the 6 to 10 range right now easily with who's
he's
in
got
that.
Darren Till, Jack Hermanson, even Derek Brunson. I think would be too much for him. And Derek Brunson's like
Brunson's number
striker.
4.
Yeah, he's number 5 right now in the rankings. He changed shit.
I see now. They did that recently. He was number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you look at that 7 to 10, like Gastelum, I could see him going after him.
I mean, even Gastelum, if he connects, I think that's it because that's what happened with him, Phil Hawes. The thing is, Malkoun, he doesn't even have that impact resistance, really. He managed to survive Al Hassan because he was gassed. But if Al Hassan had connected when he was fresh,
just because I know you love him so much, what about Shabazian?
Shabazian.
Unless he somehow beat.
We'll do that fight if I can commentate it and just say the name. And Shabazian comes in with the cross.
I think he's on the McGregor card.
He is.
Okay. Yeah, against the Hermanson.
Yeah.
But we'll have a fun recap when we're talking about that one.
Well, hey guys, I wanted to pop in for a little bit.
Sounds good.
I got a very, very early morning tomorrow, so thank you so much for having me on for just a little bit. It was fun as always, brother.
Absolutely,
And,
it's always a pleasure having you.
maybe I'll see you guys. Maybe I'll see you guys on Wednesday. When
Hell yeah!
Everybody tune in.
That's what's
We go to the YouTube channel Wednesday at noon. Me and Jay's interview with John Anik gets released, so check that out.
I'm sorry, how fucking crazy is that though? He's gonna bring me to an event later this year.
He's going to bring you to an LFA event.
Come on. No, I'm really holding out for Francis and Jones. That's the one I'm holding out for. But hey,
John Francis,
definitely check out the Anik interview. Hey guys, thank you so much, man.
Absolutely. You go be a responsible adult now. We're going to be man children. We're going to be man children.
Adult those birds.
Adult the shit out of that shit.
Fuck you, bird. Fuck you. That's how I feel. I'm serious. I'm going to let that bird go.
You won't. That bird's going to be there next week. Trust me.
It's going to be like the crow shit.
I do a lot of podcasts, and whenever I listen to the podcast, all I hear is that goddamn bird. Shut up.
Fucking bird, man.
I'm surprised.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming on again.
All right, guys.
See you later, man.
So we're gonna move.
So we're past that clusterfuck.
Yeah. Hour and a half in. Now we're on the co-main event.
Yeah.
We're killing it. We're killing it.
Oh boy.
But
we're about to slow the fuck down. I bet. Watch.
Might as well.
Yeah.
I gotta slow down for that Twitch viewers right now.
Yep.
If you're viewing on Twitch, don't hesitate to subscribe or follow our channel. It costs a whopping nothing right now, so don't hesitate to. That's how we energy. That's how we get you with the free candy.
Yep.
Yeah. But we're moving on to the co-main event of the evening. We had heavyweight matchup. We had Andre Arlovski defeat Chase Sherman by unanimous decision. Mm-hmm. Oh, this fight. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say right there is that picture. That's all I'm gonna say. Yep. It was a tale of two halves. That's what I'm gonna say because I'll go first. In the first round, I thought it was Sherman. I was like, he looked the better fighter. He looked crisp. His boxing was wreaking havoc on Arlovski. I thought he was just showing how he was younger, and I thought Arlovski was showing his age. And then all of a sudden, the second round hit, and Sherman was just done. It was like his gas tank hit empty. He had nothing left to give. And then that's when Arlovski took over. His pace and had finally helped him out in this because everybody knows Arlovski used to be the aggressor when he was younger. It's crazy to say when he was younger, but he would just attack you, knock you out, come after you, full swing right away. Right. He's had to adapt at the later ages where he is more of a counter guy that just he tries to beat you by decision now. He can still hit, but more than likely he's not going to knock anybody out. And that's basically what happened here. He let Sherman tire himself out, and then he took over from there and just started picking at him here. And there's that shot that he had that was pretty much the sealer right there. He hit him there. And then for the third round, Sherman was basically like just wobbly. He was Ben Askren wobbly after Ben Askren got knocked down by Jake Paul. That was Sherman in the third round. Oh, and he took over, and Andre Arlovski continues his career by picking up this victory, and he moves to 31-20. He's 10-10 in the UFC. That shows you how much he's been fighting. He has more losses in the UFC than Chase Sherman has fights in the UFC. 10 losses to the 3-6 record by Chase Sherman. Right. And of course, I picked Chase Sherman to win this, and then he liked my post on Instagram. Yeah. So I was gonna be like, let me try and invite him on the show because he's gonna get this victory, and then that backfired. I might still try and get him on, but
you start playing both sides of the fences. Just put them both out there and tag both of them, and then whichever one wins,
whoever gets to be first,
Oh,
but And then afterwards, he came out and Arlovsky said that he could see himself fighting for another 2-3 years.
Yeah,
in my
I
head,
heard
I'm like, he's been rotating wins and losses. So I'm like,
Right.
the next loss he gets, he needs to retire. Like, if he continues winning, be my guest. But I don't know. Like, he's at that point where if he's struggling to beat Chase Sherman,
Mhm.
who's 3-6 in the UFC,
Right.
he might need to think about it. Like, he's hovering around that 15 range right now. And once he steps right into that, back into that top 15 in the heavyweights, which is like Olenek, Pavlovich, Aspinall, who knocked him out,
Yep.
Ivanov, Tabora, Dawkins, like he's asking for trouble there.
Right.
But what did you think?
Man, this was just a classic example of just experience outshines youth. That's what it was, I actually had the scoring on the rounds a little different than you. I actually had round 1 going to Arlovsky, and the reason why is because the striking exchanges started out pretty even. Like, they were just returning fire. But then Arlovsky started to get more aggressive, and he started to land more volume, and he was slipping really well. He also had really good guard work. He just was blocking and parrying. That was for the whole fight, not just the first round. And then he'd follow up with counters. But then there at the end of the first round, Sherman really came alive, and he started landing a lot of nasty combos, one after the other. And then Arlovsky kind of recovered a little bit, but I feel like he did enough work in the beginning and the middle to still take the round, even though Sherman came alive there in like that last minute and really like pounded the shit out of him. I still gave it to Arlovsky. Which actually, I'll show you the fight stats after I'm done kind of walking through it, because the fight stats are interesting too. Now, for the second round, I had that one going to Sherman because then Sherman kind of found his rhythm. He was letting his hands go a little bit more, but Arlovsky was just consistently making adjustments with his movement and his pacing in order to just kind of keep up. And he was doing it for the most part, although Sherman looked like he was gaining more control of the stand-up as the round progressed. But those calf kicks, even though Sherman took the round, the calf kicks fucked him for the rest of the fight. Like, throughout the first round and the second round, Arlovsky was just smacking the shit out of that calf. But then, like, in that last minute, he got him good. And you could tell it hurt like a motherfucker, because after that, Sherman was limping. You could see he was just kind of hobbling around the fucking ring. And it was like, that's it for him. If he can't maintain this movement, because Arlovsky was really good at staying light on his feet and being mobile. But if Sherman's limping around the ring, it's over. You can't keep up. And that's exactly what happened. Third round went to Arlovsky because he would just outmaneuver him. He'd shoot in, throw some shots, shoot out, circle around, and then there at the end when Arlovsky was like circling away, and then Sherman's like, "Come on, just stand there." He was so mad. He was like a child. But I mean, so Arlovsky slowed down a little bit after he got kicked in the balls, but the mobility is what took that third round for me. And yeah, I had 2-1. Now, as far as the stats go, let me show you this. The stats are similar to what I said. They just flipped the first and second round, and it's not by a huge margin. That's the thing. They were saying this fight is pretty much by the numbers. Or sorry, this is the wrong fight. This is Cortez and Kish. My bad. Here it is. Arlovsky Sherman.
That's what this was supposed to be.
Yeah, right. It was supposed to look like, but so like here, there's like a 6 strike difference. Like this one was a little larger with Arlovsky landing more, but then this is just this is total strikes landed. This is just significant. So when you look at total strikes, there's only a 4 strike difference, but it was the strikes that he did land counted for more. It was 32-21, almost a 10 strike difference there. Actually, 11 strike difference. My bad. Here it was pretty much 1-for-1, 27-33, but Sherman was leading in the first round by 6, which is a pretty narrow fucking margin to lead by. And then you get to this last round, and it's another like 12 for Arlovsky over Sherman. So he had 6 here, and then he was starting to lose by 11, and then that just sealed the deal right here with this 12. So really, Arlovsky won by like a solid 20-ish significant strikes in the numbers. But yeah, again, Sherman was ahead a little bit in the first round, but then after that, second round, third round were clearly Arlovsky. But of course, the judges didn't see these They didn't see these numbers while they were scoring, though. Of course, they just kind of had to go with what they were seeing. So, like, just based on like just viewing it, I could maybe see them flipping the rounds. But either way, there's no way that Arlovsky lost this match, right? Now, as far as his future, man, Arlovsky, they said he's been fighting since 1999. The dude's like 47, 40, like something crazy. He's old.
I think he's 42.
42. That's still crazy for fighting age. That's old.
Yeah,
So,
that's how old. That's how old Dana Cormier is now.
Oh no shit! How old is Souza? The one that
Souza.
Yeah, Souza.
Shakar Souza. Let me look.
Isn't he like the oldest one? Isn't he like? Isn't he 47? The one who got knocked out by Kevin Holland.
There it is. He is 41.
41. Oh wow, he's younger than these guys. That's crazy. I thought he was older, but I mean, he's definitely on his way out. I mean, he says he wants to fight a few more years. Honestly, he could probably do it. He's got. It looks like he's got.
It depends on who they put in front of him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think at this point he doesn't have a shot at the top 10 anymore. I don't think he's even really got a shot at the top 15 because of all the new talent coming in. So basically, they're probably just going to designate him as like a gatekeeper sort of guy in the bottom 15s and the 20s.
They fed Aspinall to him. Aspinall beat him. Shot Aspinall up into the 12th spot, I believe he's at now. Let me look. Yeah, no, he's at 13 now. 13, and then now we're waiting to see who Aspinall gets next.
Right.
I'm hoping he gets a good one. And then they just fed him Sherman. This was supposed to be Sherman's. Okay, let's see how you do against him. See if you can get a top 15.
I think that's probably going to be his role from here on out. Like that's going to be his job. You know,
he feed the young talent to him.
Yeah, kind of like they were trying to do with Brunson, but that was more for like, top 5 spot contenders. This is like to get into the top 15.
And then somehow Brunson went against the grain and decided to win them all. It was like, I'm going to win these instead of losing. Right. And then now he's at that 4 or 5 spot now.
Right. But I mean, if Sherman couldn't even beat him, though, like if Sherman can't get past Arlovsky at this point, he doesn't have much of a shot in the heavyweights. And that's saying something. Like the heavyweights, not nearly as stacked as the middleweight or the light heavyweight division. Like, I mean, I don't know how far he can go. He can't even. He's got no chance against Espinal. I think if he goes against Olenek, he's going to have issues because Olenek's a very good grappler. Like
I think he could beat Olenek. I think he could beat Olenek, but I don't think he can beat Aspinall because Olenek has a bad chin now.
Yeah, I mean he's old, but if Olenek gets it to the ground, I think Olenek's got the experience to choke Sherman out. I think Sherman has any ground answer.
He has no shot against Aspinall. Like I'm very high. There's no way. I'm very high on Aspinall. I think he's going to be like a freaking freak train force. Like between him and Dawkins, like I don't know who's going to do better.
I'd say Aspinall's probably got it on Dawkins right now because he's got the wrestling ability
boxing.
Too. Yeah, well, Dawkins says he's a power striker. Even for a heavyweight, he's a pretty good striker. But Aspinall's got both.
Philly guy.
Philly guy.
But Aspinall, like that's what's crazy about Aspinall is like you've seen his boxing. Like he trains with the, I think Till. I think he trains with Till and Tyson Fury. Mm-hmm. But everybody forgets, like you said, he has that wrestling background. He just doesn't use it. Mm-hmm. He hasn't had to. Like,
well, he used it to choke out Arlovsky, didn't it? Wasn't that a win by submission?
No. What he did was he charged him like Brock Lesnar style, hit him against the cage, and Arlovsky was so knocked out of it, he tapped before he even got the submission in. Like he was like, "I'm done before you even could do it. I'm just saving myself." That's probably what kept him into this fight was like, I kept myself one more fight in my tank, and then he wins it. So like by tapping there, like he picked himself an extra money, extra money in my back pocket, Yep. And then he won this. So like he's probably gonna get booked again. It's gonna be in that spot. Like it's gonna be another guy coming in. Yeah. And we'll just have to wait and see who it is.
Yeah. But I think he's basically going to be a tomato can fighter for the division. I think that's his job from now on for like a year or two, and then they'll give it back to Olenek.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be Olenek.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the main event of the evening. We had a middleweight matchup. We saw Robert Whittaker defeat Kelvin Gastelum by unanimous decision.
We did.
There's the shot that he had on him right there.
Yep.
Of course, in the opening thing, you see the one kick that he had right to the head, which I give Gastelum props for popping back up.
Oh yeah.
And then let me keep this up right now. But I'll let you start on this one.
Man, I was disappointed. I had high hopes for Gastelum, but then he just fell back into his old bad habits. And to be fair, it's not entirely his fault. It's not entirely his fault.
No.
So the thing was, it was the first round that fucked him up real bad. And I'll get to that in a sec. But his takedown attempts were not well placed. He didn't think them out like he was doing in the Heinisch fight. They were not like sophisticated, well approached wrestling or takedown ability. It really looked more like he was struggling to keep his head above water whenever they would wrestle or go to the ground. You know, like Whittaker was in control in every arena. There was no question. He took a 5-round sweep of that shit. And that's the thing. In the first round, Gastelum started out really good. He had a good amount of variety. He was mixing it up. He was throwing in those leg kicks. He had some solid combinations he was landing on Whittaker. But after that fucking head kick, Whittaker landed that huge head kick, and it just fucked him for the rest of the fight. That was it. And he kept using that combination, jab, cross, high kick, and it just kept landing over and over again. And after that first big shot, Gastelum slowed down a lot, like noticeably. And he went more into like the sedentary boxing mode. And that just made, Whittaker's speed more effective, because at first Gastelum was able to keep up with him. And then he was like, oh, fuck, I got rocked. And he just fell back into the old bad habits. And basically for the rest of the round, or for the rest of the fight, really, Whittaker just dictated everything that was going on. Like, he kept getting those double unders when they would be wrestling off the cage, and he'd successfully throw Gastelum. That was crazy. Those were some good ass throws. And then when it got to the ground, it seemed like Gastelum would just accept the bottom side position and just try to work from there, even though he really wasn't working. He was just trying to keep Whittaker from posturing up and punching him in the face. But he wasn't doing any like submission attempts, any sweep attempts. You just kind of laying there. And then you go into round 2, you've got like a little bit of I wouldn't even say like a comeback. It was weird. It was like Gastelum would get a little fired up at the beginning of each round, and that would last for about 30 seconds, and then he would die back down. But the problem was, it started in the second round, and it persisted through the rest of the fight. That sedentary boxing mode, it was more detrimental than anything, because he kept throwing the same tired combinations over and over and over again. And Whittaker caught on super early. All he did was like jab, cross, jab, hook, jab, jab, cross, jab, jab, hook. And then he would occasionally throw like a jab, cross, lead hook, or like a jab, cross, jab. He had one elbow in the entire fight. And that was like at the beginning of, I think it was the 4th round, when they did that little weird spat of stand-up and then broke immediately. I didn't see a single uppercut, which for a boxer, your uppercut's a pretty fucking valuable tool. You might want to throw that in there. I was like, Whittaker caught him with a couple of really good uppercuts. So it's like, maybe you should use that more often. Yeah. But I mean, once Whittaker caught on to like his 5 or 6 set combinations, all he did was just count. Like the jabs would get him. It was funny. When Whittaker, he was in southpaw, right? So like the side of his face facing the jab, he would get hit with the jab because he'd lunge in with the jab, but then the cross was coming every time, just defend the cross. So like this side of his face got fucked up. This side was clean. So it was really only when Gastelum could like jump in there and catch him unawares before he could get that front hand up. But even then, he would always just have a counter ready. He would just return fire right away and just wear him down. Yeah. I mean, because once he would counter, he would keep going. He would just throw in a few. He'd counter, and then, okay, good, jab, cross, high kick opportunity, and it would land a lot. And then going into the 3rd round, he changed again. Because at this point, Gastelum, he got a little bit of a second wind in the middle of that round, and he got more aggressive. He was mixing it up again. So then Whittaker's like, okay, I'm going to do something totally different. And he just kept countering. He slipped. He got that uppercut, that one clean. He did like 2 slips and an uppercut down the middle. And then by the last minute of the 4th round, it was pretty much over after that. You know what I mean? That was Gastelum's last stand. And then round 4 and 5 for a clean sweep.
I think he did have 2 takedowns that's when he decided to do it.
Gastelum had 1 takedown, but he got Whittaker slipped out like immediately.
which was fine. Like I expected him to get up right away, but
Yeah.
why wait until the 4th round to go for that? You can say what you want. Like Whittaker has improved a lot. Like he was the favorite, but I thought after watching him against Ian Heinisch, where right away he went for the takedowns. He was dominant with it. He would get him from any direction, just throw him. I know there's a difference between Ian Heinisch and Robert Whittaker, but stick to what works. Stick to what works. Like,
I think the reason he did it with Heinisch is because Heinisch tried it first, and he kind of got like reminded, like, "Oh yeah, I'm a wrestler." You know, like it seems like if Heinisch didn't do that, he wouldn't have thought to do it.
Yeah, but like that's your bread and butter. Like you dominated with that, and that, to me, that was his path to victory. Was that like he took down Whittaker with ease? Yes, Whittaker got up right away, but I think he could have got into Whittaker's like mind with that. Like like you might get up, but I'm just going to keep taking you down, and at some point he might have been able to keep him down.
Right,
but like you're just standing up with the guy where. Like you punched good, like he was able to hit Whittaker good, just like he hit Adesanya good. But what Whittaker has done great is add the combinations into his repertoire. He's not the same fighter as he was against Adesanya. Against Adesanya, like to get to that point, he was more aggressive. Like he'll come at you. Now he kind of sits back. He still hits you, but he lets you come to him. Yeah. And then he's more content with doing that. And then he hits you with combination, kind of like a counter combination. Like
he has a good blend of the two. Like he can take the offensive, but he's also very good at like when he's being attacked, he catches first of all, he catches onto patterns quickly. And that was what cost Gastelum this fight, is he only had a set number of patterns, so it didn't take long until Whittaker figured out his game. And then after that, he just counter.
I think it was like 3 minutes, and then he figured out like how he was his movement, and then he was just pop.
I'm telling you, at the beginning of the first round, Gastelum was giving it to him. It's because he didn't have a set pattern. He was mixing it up, and Whittaker couldn't keep up. He was getting beat a little bit, and then that head kick happened. That fucking head kick.
That's why I said like he should have shot him for a fucking takedown. Should have shot it. That would have messed up the footwork. Him thinking about what he was doing, because you would have hit him. You got him, and then right before he thinks about like, oh, this is what he's doing, you shoot for the takedown, get his mind off of it, because now he has to think about getting up. Even if he gets up right away, you still have that in his mind that you're going to do it. He didn't have that in his mind because you didn't do it for 4 rounds. By that point, you were already losing 3 rounds to none going into the 4th, and then you had to finish him to get the victory. So it was like then he didn't care that you took him down, because then you're kind of doing him a favor by wasting time, because I don't think Whittaker's the kind of guy that's going to knock you out. He probably could, but he's the kind of guy that's just going to do a lot of damage to you. He's going to slow you down, and then he's going to just hurt you with the combinations, and then beat you by decision. And then just look at him; he took a lot of damage, like you said, to the side of the face. Yeah. I'm looking at him. I'm like, damn, he almost looks like he took more damage than Gastelum did. Right. But in reality, Gastelum took twice as much. It's just that when he hit him on that one side, he hit him good. But Whittaker was hitting him all over, like the here, there, the stomach, the side, because the boxing, his boxing's on another level. Like I wish we could have seen him against Jake Paul. At least we would have had a different decision out there, you know. Right. But now here's the true test. Right now, I thought it was great. They interviewed him. Well, first they interviewed Marvin Vettori afterwards, and he was like, "Did you see the interview?"
I didn't, but I saw him watching the fight, and he was like recording with his phone. He looked happy, and then as soon as that fight was over, he's like. He looks so mad.
Well, because he trains with the Gastelum. Him and Gastelum train together.
Really? I didn't know that. I thought it was because he knew he wasn't getting a shot at Adesanya after that shit.
No.
He's getting first crack.
No. He was there because it just happened he was there because of he knew that he might get a shot, but it just so happens that Gastelum is one of his training partners.
Oh no, shit, that's cool.
Or they train at the same gym. So he was there. They interviewed him about the fight, and he was like, "I want to see him do that against me. I want to see Whittaker do that against me." He was like, Whittaker. He was like, Whittaker is good, but he was like, I could get inside of him and hit him. And then they were like, what? Then somebody asked him about Kevin Holland, and he was like, Kevin Holland's very good. Like he took it to me, but he was like, Kevin Holland had that weakness that I decided to take advantage of. He was right. He was wrong.
Whittaker doesn't though. Whittaker doesn't have that though. What's he gonna do when he tries to out wrestle Whittaker and it doesn't work?
Well, he doesn't have to. I think he could stand up with Whittaker because I think Holland is kind of like Adesanya where their stand up is really great. But
Holland and Adesanya present like the same physique problems, but in terms of skill level, Adesanya's on his own. He's on his own league.
I think Holland's stand up is better than Adesanya, but
it's not. It's not.
No, I think it is.
It's not.
But I think the problem is the glaring weakness of the takedown is what kills Holland. That's why, like, you saw him hit Vittori. You saw him hit the guys that he faced, even Brunson.
Yeah.
It's just that the fact that they were just like, okay, we'll just take you down then. We'll take the stand up out of the equation.
Right.
And that just ended it because you could just take him down and then he had nothing.
No answers
for that.
Yeah.
But I think as like a stand-up, I think Whittaker can go with the combinations, but he's not going to knock. He's not going to knock him out. I think he just does a lot of damage. It's the lighter box, and
here's the thing. So
it adds up.
I was wondering about whether or not Whittaker would be a challenge for Adesanya because it looks like he's next in line after that performance with Vittori and Holland versus Whittaker, Gastelum. Clearly, Whittaker's the one who gets the next shot at him. But I was wondering, like, how different is he now versus the Adesanya fight? So I went back and I watched it. The main things I saw were when Whittaker was fighting Adesanya the first time. He was like frantic in his striking.
Yes.
Like he would just jump in there with a bunch of like flurries. They were combinations kind of, but they were mostly just like, I'm going to jump in and throw as many punches as I can. And that's exactly how Adesanya beat him. He just let him do it. He would pull in those big shots and then counter. And one of the counters was the knockout, So he just kept doing it until it worked. So, but this time, Whittaker's more controlled. He's more calm. He picks his shots and he looks for countering opportunities. So that same strategy won't work. I don't know if he's necessarily able to match Adesanya's like his technique. Because remember, Adesanya had a whole ass kickboxing career where he dominated before he even came into the UFC, which is why I think Kevin Holland, even though I would say probably Kevin Holland has a power advantage, the technique gap is too glaring for it to be a problem for Adesanya. I think what we saw Whittaker do here, he would make Adesanya's original strategy not work, but he would have to mix in that ground game that we saw, like the crazy get the double unders and just chuck them to the floor kind of shit, because that's how Jovic beat Adesanya. So he'd have to be calm, collected, pick his shots, not rush
Polish
anything.
Crusher.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got the wrestling, I think, to give Adesanya a lot of problems and take the belt. As far as Gastelum, if he doesn't wake up and stop trying to be a fucking boxer, then I think he's capped in the bottom 10 for a long time until he eventually just drops to the bottom 15 and, fades into obscurity as the new talent comes in.
Somebody said, what's next for Gastelum? And I read this and I was like, they could be onto something, that he could face the loser of Uriah Hall and Chris Weidman. He'd face the loser because that's like I think that's the 9-10 matchup.
Yeah.
You basically just have the winner just shoot up into like the 6-7 range around that. And then the loser would just kind of stay put. Yeah. And then you could just put Gastelum against the loser. the winner stays in the top 10 at 9 or 10, and then the loser falls out into the 11 to 15 range.
We'll see. We'll have to see how much it affects the rankings. Right now, Gastelum's 8, but he lost, so there's a decent chance he moves down. And right now, Uriah's 9. So
it's kind of hard to move him down just because he fought the number 1 guy. So it's like he was expected to lose.
I mean, they did that to Kevin Holland and Vittori. So,
but this week, Uriah Hall and Chris Weidman are fighting each other. So the winner will shoot up ahead of the winner will shoot up ahead of him.
They're fighting this week.
Yeah, that's this week. That's the on
261. Are they in the prelims or
the main card? It's
what
fight. It's the second. It's the second fight.
God, I haven't looked at the fight card then. I didn't even know that. I'm like, what? This is news to me.
Yeah, it's the 3 title fights. It's the 3 title fights.
I know the 3 title fights. That one I know. Okay.
It's Hall against Weidman, and then it's Jimmy Crute and Anthony Smith. That's
right. Crute and Smith. I do remember Crute and Smith are fighting. I do remember that.
Well, you got to remember this fight. The Hall Weidman was supposed to take place in February, but then I think Weidman got COVID, so they pushed it back 2 months.
Oh, that happened.
It was supposed to be the main event 2 months ago. That's why they made the Gon Rosenstruck was moved to the main event of that card. That was the co-main event.
It was a good fight.
And, speaking of that, they just announced that June 5th it's going to be headlined by Rosenstruck and Augusto Sakai.
Sakai. Oh wait, I recognize that name. I haven't seen him fight. He's number 9. That's right, Augusto Sakai. I saw Gane Volkov too. I saw them put that one out there. That's gonna be dope.
Yep, that's gonna be beast mode.
Banger.
The one thing that makes me think of that is, Derek Lewis is gonna be sitting for a while.
Man, poor Derek Lewis. He got turned down by Ngannou.
First there was John Jones said no, so then he was like, okay, I'll talk to Derek Lewis. Then he gets turned down, and then Ngannou got turned down by John Jones because of the pay, and now it's just at a standstill. It's like they want to get it done for August, but they're like, who's gonna fight him? Like, watch they're just gonna go, hey, Curtis Blades, you want this? We know you lost, but you lost twice to him already. Let's make it number 3.
Okay. They might give Stipe a shot again because they're like, fuck, we don't have anybody else. People want to see that fight, so fuck it.
That'd be nuts. That'd be like the perfect situation for Stipe. Like, damn, they would tell me I was gonna have to wait, and because John Jones wants to ask for more money, now you're gonna give it to me again. Hey, I always do good on the second try. I lose the belt and then I gain it back.
Yep.
Watch him fuck everything up. He fucks everything up. He gets the rematch. Then John Jones is like, okay, I'll fight Ngannou now after he beats Stipe, and then Stipe wins. And fucks everything up. Watch it. That's what's gonna happen. And then John Jones is like, fuck, I messed it up. Now it's gonna be me and Stipe instead of me and Ngannou.
Well, I think people want to see that fight too. Stipe and Jones, that'd be an interesting fight. So I mean, just a bunch of winners, no matter how that plays out. Even if Ngannou went up against Lewis for some reason, he changed his mind. That would be interesting. I don't think Lewis would win, but I think it'd be a good fight.
I think he could because he's already done it once. Like they both have gotten better. Not
the same Ngannou though, and relatively, like in terms of like relative progression, I think Ngannou's made more headway than Lewis has in terms of evolving his game and shit. I think just Ngannou has more weapons going into this.
You better watch out for that flying leg kick by Lewis. I love it. It's so weird, but it's so effective. For some reason, it looks so good doing it, even though it's so weird. That flying leg kick that he does, it catches me off guard. I don't even know, but it's like that's how it is with the fucking log jam they have up there because of Stipe. Like you have guys that are like waiting to fight now, like Stipe and Lewis. So essentially they're going to have to fight each other. They're going to have to fight.
That's probably how it's going to shake down, and then the winner gets a shot at the title. That's probably
because you have that. That's 1 and 2 because John Jones he's number one on the pound for pound rankings, but then he's nowhere to be found on the division rankings.
Right.
He's not on light heavyweight, and then he's not on heavyweight yet. He's just floating there on the pound for pound list. Like
Right.
I'm here at number one, but I'm not on any other rankings.
Right.
But you can put me at number one.
He has no home.
I have no home, but on the pound for pound.
Right.
So you got that 1 and 2. I still don't know why Blades is 3 over Gon because, Lewis beat Blades, but then Gon won. So like he shot up the 4. Like I thought they were going to have maybe Blades against Gon.
That'd be a good fight. That would be a good fight. Very close. I mean, in terms of like skill and mobility, they would fucking bang it out. That'd be dope.
But now they have Gon and Volkov, which is going to be a pretty good 4 or 5 matchup. So you got the 4 or 5 matchup with 1, 2, and 3 not doing anything. Well, at the moment, you got Rosenstruck, who is 6, going up against the number 9 ranked Sakai.
Right.
I think Harris and Abdur come off fighting each other. I'm not positive, but I can only assume so because I haven't seen anything. And then you got Dawkins at 10, and then Aspinall at 13. So I'm waiting to see what happens with like the breakdown on all of them. I'm going to look at that and see if I can figure that out because I want to see Aspinall fight somebody good.
Yeah.
As long as it's not Dawkins. I don't want 2 prospects fighting each other right away.
Right.
I want them to both move against somebody. Maybe like have like a fucking, since Dawkins is 10, maybe see if he can fight like a Walt Harris.
I was gonna say give Walt Harris to Aspinall. That would be a good matchup.
That works too. Like and then maybe get Dawkins, Shamir Abdurmahov. Yeah. Give him that. So it's a top 10 matchup. You get both those guys who could probably win those matchups and move on into the top 10.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that moment where I can be like, okay, we got Tom Aspinall against like Curtis Blades or like Cyril Gahn. Yeah. So I can see like a true test of that, like boxing wrestling against wrestling, like of Gahn.
I mean, give him Aspinall. Give Aspinall Rosenstruck once he gets into the top 10 because Rosenstruck could present a problem for stand-up, but I think he would be able to show off his grappling more.
Yeah, the thing with Rosenstruck is like he's too much of like a counter guy. Like he's too passive. Like he hits like a motherfucker, but like it's that he just stands there and waits. Yeah, just like in the Gahn thing. Like he's standing there and waiting. And Gahn's like, okay, I'll just punch out, punch out. Like that's all he did for 5 rounds. That's why he took no damage. Because the Rosenstruck didn't do anything. It's going to be different from him when he goes up against Volkov because Volkov is going to provide those leg kicks that he does, and then the striking. Like he'll get up in his face and do that, just like he did with the Auster a couple months ago. That's why I'm like that's one of my most looking forward to fights is that one. It's going to be very underrated. And like a lot of people are gonna sleep on Volkov there because Gahn, he's the prospect. Like, like he was able to move to number 4 within like 3 fights, just with not doing much. Like, like just using his wrestling, grappling. Like he only has 6-7 fights total under his belt, and he's already ranked number 4 in heavyweights. Right. So like he still has improvements to make, but for him to be that high and still have improvements to make,
that just shows you how empty that division was. You know, there was like nobody there. So
but now all of a sudden it's all there now. Now it's like okay, we got a log jam up there. It's like then how did this guy move to 4 if you got a log jam up there with him doing it within 3 fights? It's like. Getting into the top 10, it's like, boom, you can do that in 2 fights. But then once you get into the top 10, you're like waiting 2 years to crack that top 3 because it's like 5 guys in the top 3. It's like, how is there 5 guys in the top 3? Right. That's because Stipe's up there. Or he was up there and he was taking 1 fight a year. And then he had that trilogy with Cormier. Yeah. And then he had the second matchup with Ngannou. It was like 3.5 years. Yeah, because I think it was – he had the fight with Ngannou. Then he had the trilogy with Cormier. Yeah. just to have the second fight with Ngannou. So
He's going to finish out that trilogy.
Oh, imagine that. Imagine that, like a 4-year span to have 6 fights, all of them against 2 guys, and to go 500. To go, he would go if he were to beat Ngannou, he would go 4-2.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
I mean, we got some up and comers. We got some good prospects. It's just sorting through all the matchups you need to make, which is why I like that they're giving Gane Volkov, because that's probably his first real test outside of Rosenstruck, which wasn't much of a test. It was just like, don't get sloppy and get caught with the counter. That's pretty much all you got to do against Rosenstruck at this point.
Rosenstruck got beat up by Alistair Overeem. Then in 30 seconds left in the fight, he caught Overeem getting sloppy and knocked him out.
Yeah.
So, which shows you just how you got a game plan against him, which makes the Sakai fight interesting because he's not the kind of guy that would do that.
Right.
Like, and so I'm going to be intrigued to watch that. So that's June 5th. I'm surprised they made that a main event. That's what they said it was, the main event.
Well,
I was surprised. That's definitely a fight night card. That's like we're watching that on ESPN on regular TV.
Right. That probably tells you the rest of the fight card's going to be, it's going to be a transition card for sure, where they're just moving people around.
Yeah, let me look at that right now.
I haven't even checked.
Huh?
I haven't even checked that far ahead. I just saw this thing, Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather apparently is happening.
Logan, oh geez.
Yeah.
That's what we don't need. Jeez.
So basically Logan Paul's gonna get the shit beat out of him at some point in the future. Like that's all that's gonna happen there.
Okay. I'm in Meg right now.
And the Pauls just remind me so much of that fucking guy, Charlie Zolanov. Did you hear about Charlie Zolanov?
Charlie Zolanov. Okay. So we got Walt Harris fighting Marcin Tybura. So that's like a 7-11 matchup. So he's not gonna, so we can't have Aspinall fight him because he's already booked. Damn, that sucks. So let's check 263, which is Figueiredo Moreno, which is June. Wait, what? Okay, June 5th. So how are they going to make that the? Oh shit. Okay, so yeah, that's a light card on June 5th. That's the Rosenstruck one. That's light because then the week later it's the Figueiredo Moreno 2.
Oh, that's gonna be dope.
That's gonna be fire. You got Carlos Felipe against Jake Collier, Paul Craig, Jamal Hill, Joanne Cowderhood against Lauren Murphy.
All right.
If you're listening, Cage Talk, she's fighting then. You got Damian Maya, Belio Muhammad, Brad Riddell, Drew Dober. Oh, that's going to be a pretty tight card on June 12th. Dope. Okay.
Then you got until June 12th? Which card are you looking at?
That was June 12th. I'm on June 19th right now, which is Korean Zombie and Dan Ige.
I'm not seeing that anywhere. I see Font Garbrandt and then straight to Gane Volkov. There's like a big jump there.
Matt Brown, Diego Lima. Let's see. Casey O'Neill, Lara Prosubia, Marlon Vera, Davey Grant. Okay. So then I go, here's June 26th, which is Cyril Gane, Alexander Volkov. And it's
I just noticed that. There's a big gap here for some reason. There's 262, Garbrandt Font, and then just like it jumps to June 26th with Gane Volkov. It just skips over 263. So that's
now I'm on 264, which is Poirier McGregor. Yeah. But then they also have Jessica I, Jennifer Meyer, Ryan Hall, Ila Taporia, Omari Akhmadov, Brad Tavares, Gilbert Burns, Stephen Thompson, and then Ty Torivasa, Greg Hardy. And then that's going to be at T-Mobile Arena.
Who's Wonder Boy fighting? I didn't hear.
He's fighting Gilbert Burns.
Gilbert Burns. Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting.
July 17th is fight
Okay.
night 192. It's going to be Marion Renew against Misha Tate.
Oh yeah, I heard Misha Tate was coming out of retirement again.
She's coming out, and I think that's the headline right now.
What
They'll
what
probably
division is she fighting in again?
She is. Let me go back to that. 192.
She's a bantamweight. Mira and Reinu is number 12. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then July 24th, Macy Barber, Miranda Maverick, Aspen Ladd, Macy Chiazon, Trevin Jones, Tony Kelly. Then you got 265, which is August 7th. That's going to be the Amanda Nunez, Juliana Pena.
Ooh.
And it looks like, well, not amounts.
Number 6 getting a shot at the title. Is it for bantamweight or featherweight?
Bantamweight.
Okay. Well, I mean, who wants a shot at Nunez at this point? It's like, who wants it? Nobody seems to want it.
And then they jump to 266, which is September 4th, which is Glover Teixeira and Jan Hovic.
In September? Jesus Christ, he's getting a long break. He didn't even take really that much damage from the Adesanya fight. He's got a huge break.
Curry is the most entertaining basketball player I've ever seen. We're talking UFC, but okay. I'll take on all comments, you know?
All right.
I'll take the comments on. But yeah, like the starting shape up, I'm sure they got everything into June. Yeah. So July and August and September, they're working on now. Usually this is where they're like, boom, 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 boom. They try to get a couple of headliners and then they fill it out with the fillers, the undercards. Usually they go to undercards first and then they'll get like some good ones in. But like I'm excited for this week though. This week's gonna be really good. I already got luckily I don't have to do any notes for it because it's all matchups that I'm already geared for.
Right.
Like guys I've seen several times already. So I'm already ready. Like no notes. I don't need notes for this one. Well, usually I set my Tuesday for okay, I'll set an hour down for do my notes, get myself ready. I had already did my preview for one championship last night. I got that out of the way. And then I'm like, okay, no Bellator this week. But then I'm like, damn, I got PFL debuting this Friday. I gotta do notes for that. And then tomorrow I'll be sitting in on the panel for PFL, listening to the pre-fight media.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I get to sit in on that. So
dope.
I got that at 1:00. So I'm like, this is perfect. I thought I was gonna have to find time to do the notes. Now I don't have to because I already know these matchups. I was like, you got a rematch that we talked about already, Masvidal and Usman. Then we got
check this out. I just saw this. Oh boy. Oh wait, hold on. Hold on. Let me do that again. Bop.
With the sound.
Yeah. All right. Well, God damn it. I clicked the button. I didn't even mean to do it that time. Go for it.
Okay, there you go.
So apparently Daniel Cormier thinks that Masvidal can beat Usman for some reason. He basically says with the full training camp, that's going to make a difference because, he believes Masvidal's excuse that he took it on a week's notice or whatever. I disagree. I disagree.
I do too, but you're not going to expect who I'm going to name.
Right.
If you had to take a pick of who you think could beat Usman, who would you say?
That's a tough one because he's beat most of the contenders, Colby Covington came close, but at the end of the day, he just kind of got outclassed. I wasn't really scoring that fight, but
I had Covington, I think 3-1. Yeah, 3-1 Covington.
Right.
Because of his Usman had a little bit more damage, but then Covington had to take it. Had I think a couple of takedowns or something like that. I
don't think he had takedowns because I think Kamaru Usman still hasn't been taken down because they were saying the guy to do it would be Gilbert Burns, and he couldn't do it either.
But I remember them saying Covington was ahead, but then of course in round one he got hit in the jaw, and then it broke his jaw, and then
Yeah.
he got hit again in 5. But what killed Covington in that was when Covington was on the kill,
Yeah.
and then Usman was like, "Oh, I got hit in the balls," but then he didn't get hit. He got hit in the thigh, and then he said, "I got hit in the balls," and then the ref gave him like 2 minutes to recover, so it killed Covington's momentum, and then it just killed him.
Let's see if I can find that. Let's see.
And then Usman took the initiative after that. It killed the momentum, and then he got popped, and then in the chin again, and then that's what ended it right there. It's December 2019.
That's why we're in fucking 2020.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Let's see. Holmes, Costa. Okay, Covington, Woodley, Overeem, Sakai. It was Edgar.
You're like a 4-year behind.
Oh fuck! I didn't even realize I'm still in 2020. I was like, wait.
I was about to say.
There it is. Puppy. Okay. Whoop! Fuck! That's not going to take us to the right place, is it?
No.
What is happening right now? Go back.
That showed him, but
I just have to click it like this. This site's a little weird. It's very sensitive. So, Covington was only narrowly ahead in the first round.
Yeah.
The gap narrowed even more. Third round, Usman took control for the most part. No takedowns, no ground control time, so to speak of. So Usman took control in the third round. He was this is pretty fucking even. It's a difference of 1, but this is like a difference of 21. So this doesn't even matter anymore. In fact, it covers the gap for all the other rounds he didn't pull ahead in.
Probably at worst,
he had a pretty commanding in the 5th as well.
So probably at the worst, it was 2-2 going into the 5th. And I think the low blow was at the beginning of the 5th.
Possibly, but I mean, he still took the 5th by a huge margin.
But that's what I mean. After the low blow, like it switched like the fight big time because he had Usman on his like heels, and then it was the low blow, and then that just killed his momentum, and then he got popped.
No, I mean, Covington seems like he has the tools to potentially do it.
He puts the volume in the gas tank. That's what he has.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Usman's gaining momentum in terms of not only his volume, but his power, his timing, his pacing of the fight.
Right.
Like, he could already control the fight and win by decision. Now he's adding power and experience to that. So that's making him a bigger problem.
Let me double check to see if he already fought this guy. Hold on.
Wait, which guy can do the?
I'm looking at it now. No, he didn't fight him yet. See, this would be perfect, and then it would be a good matchup. I think the guy that I like that could challenge him is Vicente Luque.
That would be interesting
because he's sitting there at 6. I think it is. Yeah, 6. Yeah, and he's known as, they call him the silent assassin. That's what they call him.
Well, that's right. We just saw him. Who was he fighting?
Woodley. He knocked out Woodley.
That's right. It was Woodley. You're right.
Woodley. He submitted Woodley.
Yep. That's right.
That's what it is. He trains with Gilbert Burns. Or he's friends with Gilbert. No, he's friends with Gilbert Burns. Like, he beat Woodley. He beat Brown. He beat the guy before him. He lost to Thompson because he lost to Thompson, and then he lost to Leon Edwards. He's had an issue a little bit with the wrestlers. That's what they take him down, they hold him down. That's what he's had.
Well, I mean, that's a big part of Usman's background is wrestling.
He just doesn't use it that much.
I mean, but that's the thing. He doesn't always need to. He's pretty decent with his hands, and now that he's more powerful with his striking, and he's gaining that sense of like controlling the fight on the feet, he doesn't need the wrestling. He still has it. He can pull it out at any time. He just doesn't need it really. But like if Gilbert Burns wanted to do some wrestling, he could have stood toe to toe with Gilbert Burns. So I mean, it's a tool in the back pocket, you know.
And then he looked a little bit better with the takedown defense against Woodley because Woodley has the background. He doesn't use it either. Yeah, he's just on the down. That's why he's done in the UFC. But I thought that was good. He got that. That was kind of like his win to be like, okay, I'm in the top 5 now. Right. I still think he needs one more win, which it's going to be interesting to see who he gets next. Like, I'm like, because Usman's fighting Masvidal, I said all along, I was like, why don't you give Luque Covington?
Yeah.
Do Colby Covington against Vicente Luque. Do that, and then have the winner get the next shot, because of, like, there's no way you can say that with Leon Edwards fighting Nate Diaz that the winner of that like gets it. I'm like, that's a payday fight for Edwards, like. And they're even saying that they're like, okay, the winner of that gets the next shot. It's like,
right.
I'm like, if there's some way where we get Jorge Masvidal winning the belt and then Nate Diaz upsetting Leon Edwards, and then we would have Masvidal against Diaz for the title, like, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, why are we having this right now? Why is this happening to me?
Talk about a blowout.
Yeah. Like, I'll be like, okay, put Luque and Covington on that card and put that over the title fight, because it's going to be better. I'm like, you got two guys that are better than these two.
I would still give Stephen Thompson a fight. I mean, he's the one guy who hasn't gone up against Kamaru Usman.
Him and Luque are the only two.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Luque needs just a little bit more experience with like a Covington or something, who he can deal with the wrestling threat and get used to that. And then, I think he's got a shot. But like,
that's why I think they're giving Thompson Burns, because Burns just fought Usman. If Thompson can win that, then he'd have a clear path to Usman.
Yeah,
since he hasn't fought him. Just like Luque, if you pit him against Covington, if he can beat Covington, then he has a path as well.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't matter, because then Dana White will be like, okay, let's put Usman against somebody else. And then I'll just book Stephen Thompson against Vicente Luque number 2.
Jesus. I don't know, man. I'd give Thompson a shot. He's, from what I understand, he's a pretty decent wrestler. I don't know anything about his hands, but
yeah,
I mean, he's in the top 5, and he's just hasn't had a shot at Usman yet. So fuck it, give him a shot. Maybe he can make something happen. In the meantime, Luque can go up against another wrestling guy and kind of get more experience with that at the top 5 level, and then take a shot at Usman.
If you guys are just tuning in right now, we've gone through Askren, Paul. We just finished Vegas 24 recap, and now we're just doing our usual BSing right now in the rankings, because the booking crazy right now. Of course, they're trying to book through the summer now. They don't have like areas, like I can only assume right now, like from what I see, that the pay-per-views are where they're going to do live events,
right?
And then I assume they're going to stick the fight night cards right now to like the UFC Apex.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it seems like they're going to do. So like, you're looking at, which is good. Like you got Jacksonville this week. You got in a couple weeks, my birthday weekend. You got Houston.
Wait, I thought Usman and Masvidal were fighting in Houston.
No, this week it's Jacksonville.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, Jacksonville this week. Houston's May 13th.
Hold on. UFC 261.
Yeah, it's Jacksonville.
Venue? No shit. I guess it's because they allow it. Yeah. Interesting.
Veterans. Yep.
Oh.
I only remember because I almost was going to get a ticket down there because my sister lives in Jacksonville.
Oh, I'm sorry for your sister. That sucks.
well, she deals with it all the time between that and then in college football, I'm a Florida Gators fan, so they always play there against Georgia. So you got like it's like they call it the world's biggest cocktail party because it's like a week-long thing, and she deals with that.
Oof.
So this is nothing for her compared to that. That's
just
huge.
Living in Florida is, that's rough. That's right.
Have
you seen the news stories that come out of Florida? Like, it's so bad. Florida man is a thing now.
You should know that living in Texas.
we don't even have that many just like bonkers news stories. Like shit gets pretty bonkers over here. Nowhere even close. Nowhere. You
guys act like COVID's not a thing anymore.
We do. That happens a lot over here. It does. But they do that in Florida too. And the governor lied about the numbers and they're like, it's fine. But like I remember hearing a story. some dude who worked for like, I think it was DoorDash. He got an order, and I guess the lady might have been rude to him on the phone, and so he like jerked off into her food, and now he got like a felony charge because it's tampering with like the FDA got him basically on a felony charge.
Not to change the subject, but speaking of DoorDash, I had DoorDash, I have Grubhub, and then I think I have like Uber Eats.
Yeah,
I do Grubhub all the time.
yeah,
they're great. Grubhub, they're 100%. Never have anything wrong with my orders. They always come when they're supposed to. Never have anything missing. Nothing. I think I did Uber Eats before. I had 2 drinks missing, and then I had like a sandwich missing. And I'm like, dude, so I contact Uber Eats. I'm like, I got this shit missing. And the guy's like, I'm gone. I'm home already. The guy that delivered it. So then I get put over to Uber Eats, and they're like, okay, we refund you the money. I'm like, that doesn't help me with the sandwich that I was supposed to get, and then the 2 drinks that my kids are supposed to have right now.
I'm hungry, goddammit.
They want drinks. So then I'm like, so then they credit me. I'm like, I don't even want to use you guys again. So what am I going to use this money for now? Like, now you're forcing me to stay with you guys now. Like, just refund me. So now I got this credit that I got to use now. And then like this wasn't too bad, but like then I had with what's the other one? DoorDash. DoorDash. Usually it's okay. Like I pick and choose what I get from there because certain things like it works. But I get DoorDash, and then I ordered 3 drinks. They bring my order. They bring me an extra sandwich.
Yeah.
Which I didn't order, but I got an extra sandwich. But then they gave me 1 less drink.
What? All right. I got you beat though. One time I was up in Indianapolis, which by the way, Indianapolis is a fucking shithole. Fuck Indianapolis. But I was up there for work, and fuck you, Indianapolis. Anyway, you know they have so many fucking Confederate flags there. I was like, what the fuck? You guys weren't even part of the Confederacy. What the hell? But that's a different story. Jesus Christ. But
March Madness there.
Jeez. But so I was up there for work, and I was staying in like a little apartment, and I ordered DoorDash from, I think it was like Taco Bell or some shit at like 8 o'clock at night or something. So the Taco Bell it wasn't far by car, but it was further than I wanted to walk. So I was like, fuck it, I'll pay for the DoorDash. So I do the DoorDash thing, and then the little app dings me, or the guy texts me, I forget, and it's like, your food's here. So I was like, okay. So I go downstairs and I go to get my food, and there's like nobody around. I'm down there for like 5 minutes. So I text the guy. I was like, hey, where are you? You said you were here. Did you? Because there's 2 buildings. I thought maybe he went into the wrong building, and he tried to go up the elevator to like the other room, like 305 or whatever. And so I was explaining. I was like, no, I'm in this building. He's like, oh, well, I left your food outside and I've left. I'm home now. I was like, you left my food outside? What the fuck do you mean? He's like, yeah, I put it behind a plant and I left.
Holy shit.
I never found that food. Someone just came by and picked it up apparently at some point.
Like, did you get refunded?
Yeah, they refunded me, but I was pissed. I was like, what the fuck?
They would have been like,
my food. What a dick.
They would have been like, where's your food at? And you've been like, the guy put it behind some plant.
And
it's not there. Damn.
Assuming he was even in the right fucking apartment place. You could have gone to like another random apartment and left Taco Bell behind a plant there. And some person just finds it. Like, what the fuck is that? Like,
I remember this story because my buddy came by. He came by and he ordered, because we were watching UFC. I forget which fight it was. He ordered from, I think it was Taco Bell. Yeah. And he ordered it and said it was going to be there in like 10, 15 minutes. And then he goes to look at the 10-minute mark, and it said that they're in line, or that they're going to be 10 minutes out. In 10 minutes, the guy was there and he dropped it off. And we're like, what the fuck? And it said the wait in the line was going to be 10 minutes.
Yeah.
and then he had already dropped it off. They're like, "What was he already at Taco Bell already?" Because it literally said he was
That's
10
weird.
minutes. No. What it was he was 10 minutes away from Taco Bell
Yeah.
when we put the order in, and then he got to the house 10 minutes, and we're like,
Huh.
so how? So they're like, he would have had to been at Taco Bell already, working
Right.
there, already had the food made, and then
Right.
came here. So we're like, how does this happen? Like, what? Where in the math is this physically impossible for him to
Right.
drop it off in 10 minutes when it said he was 10 minutes away from Taco Bell? You would have had to wait for the food to get made, which would have been 5 minutes. And then it takes 10 minutes to go from Taco Bell to my house. I'm just thinking he already had somebody else's food and he decided to drop it off to us, and it just so happened to be the same exact
Some
order.
random person.
That's what I'm gonna say, because it was that crazy.
I mean, I don't know how the app works, but I know like for Uber, there's like prompts you're supposed to like do on the app, but sometimes the drivers don't do them and they just show up and then the phone doesn't tell you because they haven't been good about doing the prompts. It might be something like that. Like you just didn't hit the buttons.
Well, sometimes when I ordered, like I've ordered it quite a bit the past few weeks, but usually like I do it and I'm like, okay, just leave it on my front step because like because of COVID, so I make it easier for them. It's easier for them and for me. Like just drop it off my front step. They take a picture of it, and then they let me know that's dropped off. I usually get a picture, clear cut. It's there. I'm like, okay. I come out and get it when they leave. That way, it's safe for them and for me. The one time I get a picture and it's like a blur. It's like, what the fuck? Like, did you take the picture on the move? Like you were running back to your car?
As he was running back.
Like that's how bad it was. So I go outside and I'm like, okay, I have to go look at it to make sure it's there because I'm like, is he taking a picture of it and then he's gonna run off with it and then just say that he dropped it off? But it was there. Everything was good. It's just but then lately I feel like that they're pushing that it's getting dropped off before they're even at my house. So like down the road, like they're down the road, then they hit dropped off. So then then I'm like, okay, I usually have to gauge it now. Like, okay, they're saying they're dropping off. I have to give it an extra 2-3 minutes for them to actually put it on my step and then take a picture of it now.
Right. Wow. Have you ever had have you put in funny things in the special instructions before?
The only thing that I put is I'm like, I in the special instructions I just put it on my step and just text me when it's delivered.
I started doing this years ago, and sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. But for the special instructions, I started putting in specifically for pizza places because they did it at a pizza place first, and they did it, and so I haven't done it for like other stuff unless it's pizza.
Yeah.
I always tell them to draw a picture on the box, and it's always of a different thing. And sometimes they do it, and like most of the time they don't. And I get it. Sometimes they're busy, and there's a bunch of orders coming in and shit. But like I've kept the box tops that they actually did it on. Check this shit out. This was the first one I ever got.
Oh, this guy kept it.
Yeah, look at that shit.
A dinosaur. Oh shit.
Pretty dope, right?
Wait. You ordered Pizza Hut off of there?
No, not this. So this one wasn't Pizza Hut, or it wasn't DoorDash. It was straight from Pizza Hut. I was in where was I? Newport Richey, Florida at the time.
Okay.
And I was getting pizza for I was on a job training at the time, so I was in the hotel.
Job training.
I ordered it, and they brought me this, and the dude who delivered it was so cool. He was like this big dude with like dreadlocks. He's like, check that out, man. I was like, dude, that's what's up. That's awesome. I didn't think we were gonna fucking do it, but apparently they had like a good time with it. When they saw the instructions like in the back, they were like taking turns trying to see who could draw the best one. It was dope, and they've done it for me like 2 more times. Those were mod pizza though. I've got one here of a Jack Sparrow right behind me. And then this one was like a really lazy stick figure drawing over here. So that one's not even art, but you gotta start writing funny things in the special instructions. Sometimes they'll do it. It's fucking priceless when they do.
Oh geez.
That's
even better.
Oh yeah. I even put shit like sing a jolly tune whenever you drop off my shit. Like I want to be serenaded when you give me my pizza. I've never done that, but I imagine at some point someone will be cool enough to do it. Oh god.
Perfect. Yeah, but I feel like we're gonna wrap up right now since all we're talking about is pizza, DoorDash, and whatnot. Like we're 2.5 hours in
Right.
of this MMA podcast, and the last 30 minutes has been DoorDash,
Just random shenanigans.
dinosaurs, and then Captain Jack Sparrow.
All right. Oh, real quick, who do you think? Who do you got on this one? Who do you got on this one?
Okay, let's see. Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul date. When will fight take place? Come on now. Do I even need to answer this? Do I even need to?
What? Why does he want to get his ass beat by freaking Floyd Mayweather so bad? Here's the thing. This is the Paul that's actually fought like real fighters, I think. I don't know who this guy is, but KSI. So, I mean, I think he's actually been like legit boxing, but he's not going to beat Floyd Mayweather 50-0. There's no way. Come on.
No.
Come on.
Come on.
Which fucking boxing association is commissioning this? Like who would do that? Like is it Triller again or is it like an actual commission? But
good question.
I don't know, man. I just saw that. I thought that was really dumb. And plus the stupid fucking the red belt. Stupid ass red belt. But
oh jeez. But we're gonna wrap it up right here. I'm gonna do a few things and then I'll let the outro go. But I give it a few seconds after that. I'm gonna send everybody the one or two people that are on here over to MMA Marks. He's still on right now, so I'll do a little read of that. So I'm letting you know that, Miles, so you don't think that we're going silent for like 2 seconds at the end like usual. That's going to be me rating his channel real quick before I end the broadcast. But as always, this is Cage by IQ. We got this new card for our handles right here. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch right there. This is, once again, Cage by IQ, the best place for MMA content. I'm your host, Daniel Bakley, and then this is my co-host, Miles Long. But don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Cage by IQ, and then on Twitch, which at Cage by IQ, the Twitch channel, the handle is actually twitch.tv/Cage by IQ. So follow us on there, and then subscribe to both that and YouTube. And on YouTube, we're pumping out a bunch of content almost every day. Today's our live day. I usually pump out stuff for one, Bellator, and then now PFL as well. I do previews and recaps for them, just a little 10-minute videos for those. So it's not that bad, quick and easy watch. And then I also have a nice backlog of interviews that I've been doing that are spread all the way to the end of May. And then, so keep an eye out for those every Wednesday. And then usually I'll do like Friday or Saturday with that. But definitely check this out. We're affiliated with the Sports Box. So check out the Sports Box right there. The handles below. Yeah. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Got a whole bunch of different podcasts on there. We're actually, the podcast is doing a whole thing for the NFL draft next week. We're going to do like a mock draft, and then we're going to do a live stream for the first, second, third round on that next Thursday and Friday. Oh, so dope. Keep an eye out for that on the Sports Box page on the Twitter and the Facebook. So we're going to do that, and then keep an eye out for my preview for 261 this Thursday. Where we're previewing the 3 title fights and then the 2 other fights on the main card. It's going to be crazy card. Anytime there's 3 title fights, it's going to be legit. And on top of that, it's going to be the first one with a live crowd. So check that out. And then once again, I'm going to send you guys over to MMA_Marks. Go to his Twitch and YouTube. Follow and subscribe to both those channels. Great dude. Giving us exposure on Twitch earlier. This is my way of thanking him by letting you guys know. But check him out there. He likes to do UFC 4 and do all that. But once again, I am Dan. This is Miles. Check him out at the Last and Rec podcast on Twitter And on Facebook, he goes live all the time. He's on there for like 5 to 6, 7 hours at a time. He doesn't move. He doesn't move. He's a statue.
Solid. Got that streaming endurance.
Yeah, but check him out on there, and then that's a wrap. So
Shazbazian.
We will talk to you guys later, but hold on a second to the two people are on, because once the outro ends, I'm gonna go read his channel before I hop off.
Dope.
Talk to you guys later.
Later.
Thank you for watching this episode of Cage My IQ on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at Sportsbox Show, Twitter at Sportsbox Show, Instagram at The Sportsbox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.